The following podcast contains adult language and possibly sexual conversation that may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. I guess that means anyone who likes ice cream, it's bedtime. The views and opinions expressed by the hosts and guests do not necessarily reflect those of the podcast or its affiliates. The content discussed is for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be taken as professional advice. These are professional retards, not psychiatrists for your fucked up sensibility or mental illness. Please consult a qualified expert for any specific concerns or questions. Thank you for listening, and if you are one of my precious little snowflakes, go get some minty chip and some of that good-smelling kids shampoo. We aren't wanted here with these men.
How's it going, boys? We are back. Holy fucking hell. I was sitting here hanging out with this ginger literally 5-10 minutes before I started setting up the fucking stream, and he's not fucking here anymore. He just poof. I got a furry instead. He came to hang out. He was supposed to be the guest, and now he's hanging out. How's it going, brother? It's been a fucking while.
You said ginger, and I'm like, I'm not ginger, and then I was
Nope.
like, oh, Ippo, because he's not here. And then I was thinking, like, ooh, is that a trade up or a trade down?
I don't know, furry for a ginger. Which one's worse? Which one's better? Fuck you, Kick, for not streaming to my destination. Goddamn.
That's how it goes.
Yep, whatever. Remove Kick. Oh, that's on the fucking screen. Fuck you. God damn it. I hate having to stream this screen. It's so bad. God damn. So how the hell you been, brother? It's been a fucking while.
It hasn't been that. When was the last time I was on? I don't remember.
The episode that was removed off YouTube.
Oh, right. Yeah,
we got banned because we were bad. We were bad and we were mean.
I was about to say, what got us banned? But that's not something to
We
talk
insulted
about,
that very, very fat man that plays video games for
that.
children. See, that might get me banned. I'm a douchebag. Fuck, I didn't even say any
Close
names.
enough. Yeah, as for how it's been playing a lot of League of Legends, and that's kind of ruined my mental. So I'm just in brain fog land, because they're doing all kinds of rank changes and stuff, so I wanted to, like, get my highest rank, and then reset it, and then get higher, and... Nah, League of Legends just sucks, don't play it.
I couldn't fucking play it. It's
Those are the
not
best
one of
kinds
those
of games,
things.
though. Where you're just like, yeah, man, I played this game, I'm addicted, never play it, it fucking sucks, though.
Yep, exactly. Those are the best games, but also the worst ones all at the same time. I've been playing way too much Grand Theft Auto roleplay. Way too fucking much. I finally started slowing down, but it's been a fucking minute. I wish I could see how many fucking hours I put into it. I know if I move anything, though, it's going to tell me that the fucking picture goes away. I do want to check to see if Facebook is up, though. Whatchamacallit. But yeah, we've put in like 100 hours or so in GTA RP.
How long?
I would assume in like a month-ish.
For me, I'm like casual. I've put in, I think, like 100 games of League of Legends.
It's been like 30 to 40 hours each of us a week or so. So it's probably about 120 hours.
Okay.
For a month. And we played for like 2 months now.
I did like 100 games of League of Legends in a week. Less than a week, like 6 days. That's unhealthy. I should not be alive right now.
Well, you're fueled by G Fuel, the presenting sponsor of the podcast. Go check out G Fuel. Use the buy one get one free option. They tell you to promote that instead of your own code. If you guys want to just use the 20%, use mine. If you're gonna use the deal, go get buy one get one free. The shit's fucking awesome.
Cool. Yeah, agreed. That was like how, like, everyone's like, oh, Verlisify, how do you do so much videos? If, like, because people, they'll make fun of me for content milling, but it's like, yo, that means I'm actually, like, doing crazy amounts of work and stuff, and it's all that energy drink power.
Working, man. You gotta work.
Yeah.
What the hell's that? Oh, it's been a fucking while, though. I swear. My friend, Cloudy, he was like, you know, Zach, I think the only reason you're still going with how much you're doing is probably the G Fuel sponsorship. Being fueled by G Fuel is the only reason you're able to go about 20 hours a day without sleep. I don't disagree. I told him.
The little just like powder, like re-upping, that's a game changer.
Yeah, our rep was telling us. He's like, "Yeah, you guys should try it in milk." And I'm like, "Absolutely fucking not. That sounds disgusting."
Yeah, pass on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna hard pass on that. That's not gonna be an option for me. I'm sorry. Not only being lactose intolerant, that just sounds gross. Absolutely fucking gross.
The flavors are good enough as it is.
Yeah. Oh, I just add it with some sparkling water, so that way it's like it's from a can or soda.
Mm.
It feels fantastic. I sent a shirtless picture to my wife, and I look so much fucking better than I did 2 years ago, right after my neck surgery. I feel so much fucking better after
Awesome.
2 years. Zero sugar, and I feel fantastic. I don't know if those fucking dogs are actually barking through the mic or not.
A little bit.
A little bit. I'm gonna have to call them upstairs. They're acting like retards. I don't know what the fuck they're barking at. Probably the bear. Having that piece of shit roam around is not a fun time.
Oh no, absolutely not. When I was living out in the boonies for a while, just the woods of Washington surrounded by forest, yeah, man, coyotes, bears, that's fun having a husky around.
Yeah, my little dog, who's a Havanese, is literally probably like 20 fucking pounds. Literally fuck all.
Mm-hmm.
He's like this fucking big, but looks like a husky. Except he's white and cream colored.
Yeah.
He is the most defensive, anxious dog I've ever seen in my life.
Rough.
So if he sees anything, if he hears anything, just all of a sudden he does not shut up until he knows he's okay. Unless he's by my feet. Then he just shuts up. Until we got the Beagle, he didn't bark fucking at all. It's a weird fucking time. Weird fucking time. So whatchamacallit? We've been working a shit ton behind the scenes, but remember that thing that I was talking to you about probably like 6 months ago, that YouTube video series that I was telling you about with the voice actors and voice acted parts for Nuzlocke and all of that shit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just finally started editing it because I was finally able to re-inspire myself by moving around my office.
Interesting.
Yeah. Just started cutting that. I think also editing the episode of PK probably helped a bit. I don't know if you watched
I'm not
that.
juggling as many things as you are. Oh yeah, I watch PKA. I'm keeping up with that. But since I'm not juggling as much as you, I can't even imagine what it'd be like to have a project like take 6 months or get dragged out over 6 months.
It was like I was super, super in depth with it when I first started with the idea. And then it kind of dropped a bit because it was like, oh, now the energy's not there anymore. It didn't get completed within the week. Therefore, I don't fucking care anymore.
Therefore, OCD.
Yep.
Get fucked.
And then just, other ideas come up and that idea is better and better and it just goes away. Now I'm finally starting to edit. Now that I'm done writing, now I'm finally done with all of that shit. Now it's finally time to do all of that. So I'm excited. I got to get the shit sent over to James and everybody else that was a part of it. But I'm excited. I'm excited. It might be a new way to showcase Nuzlocke.
Nice.
Maybe get a whole bunch
You
of
gotta
those
make sure like
reaction
the
channels to
SEO.
react.
Yeah, you gotta make sure the SEO is like pristine on that one and get
Oh.
as much promotion as possible.
New channel. Doing a brand new channel for that. Brand new. I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna do a couple video series like that where it's just like a Netflix level let's play of a game with voice actors and the video plays out, but it's like all handwritten jokes and dialogue and everything else and all the fun ribby things in between friends and also content.
That's got a shot. The thing is, like, I understand YouTube really well. I've got some of that like algorithm foo inside of me. But the biggest thing that's eluded me is like those Minecraft channels where like you just find a Minecraft channel, 3 million subscribers, started uploading 4 months ago. Their first upload just like out of nowhere, 500,000 views. Like that eludes me. I don't know that magic side of YouTube.
When I was going through and looking at fucking numbers and everything else on everything else, like thumbnails, does that correlate to everything else? Does that correlate to click-through rate?
Oh yeah, thumbnails are fucking huge.
Does the tags matter?
Yes.
There is no correlation between any of it.
Well, since I get dislike-botted still and like YouTube is like manually blacklisted my channel, I don't know as hard of the correlation, but just from my experience, like yeah, thumbnail is probably the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
SEO.
I don't disagree that. I'm saying like tags though. There's not as high of a
Description tags is how you do it now.
Yep, it's more like 2009 instead of 2016. It seems like. But yeah,
Yeah, 2016 was like, oh, tags were way overpowered. Like, they were just OP.
but I've seen zero people accomplish a series idea to that level where they get voice actors like James C. Burns in a fucking Pokemon Nuzlocke Let's Play. Nobody. Fucking nobody. And he's like, yes, I'm going to do it. I'm like, yes.
That's really sick.
No, I'm
and
excited.
That's why it's like, I just, if only there was like a deeper understanding, like how those Minecraft kids just like make that first video go 100K. I don't know that magic, but if you tap that, then you just got like a new fresh channel that's fucking set forever. It might take even a series or two, but eventually there's like a kick there.
No, and I think that there's a hole because it's content that hasn't been done. It's an idea that hasn't been touched. It's an idea that hasn't been affected yet. But also there's a big enough hole that could change the way everybody else does them entirely. And you see that
Nappy
with the
did
animated
leave a
stuff
big void.
too.
Nappy getting busted for grooming minors left a pretty big void, both figuratively and literally. So you need to fill that.
I don't want to fill that hole. I'm going to swerve around that hole and then make my own.
Okay, content, not the grooming hole. Even though that does seem to be a correlation to success inside the Pokemon community.
What you're saying is the white trash gangster person can refill the Arizonan gangster person's hole.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just put white trash Andrew Tate in there and we're good. But yeah, I thought it was an interesting way to look at things and kind of change the way everybody does things, because then it can showcase games that are coming out. It can be reacted to by all of these React channels and everything else. And then maybe they'll catch on to some jokes and ribs to different people. And I thought that part was interesting, because then there's not only one layer to it, but having a joke in there for this person or that creator, this creator, or this character blows up the entire series.
Yeah, you just need to get it to where they're clickbaiting for you, where it's just like, the most high quality Nuzlocke ever, PokeTuber reacts.
Not only that, you then have all of the non-React channels like James C. Burns and everything else saying, oh yeah, I did this part of this content. Click.
Cool.
I was like, this could be a home run or it could be an absolute flop. Not sure, but it's going to be a fucking blast while we get there. But yeah, I'm getting that fucking fire back, and that's a really, really weird place for me to be. It hasn't been that way for about a year now.
Cool.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a year, man. It's been a hell of a year. Where the fuck is that ginger?
It's like we're just trying to fill that time.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm trying to get everything fucking scheduled and set up, and motherfucker, you are still fucking AFK on Discord.
Yeah, the weird thing is, like, I feel that, like, since the channel, it's been going down because of all the dislike botting and, like, the manual blacklisting and stuff, but that hasn't, like, it's a demotivation where it's like, I just want reach. I don't care about, like, the ad revenue money side of it. I just want, like, more people to see that I'm still making some of the best content I've ever made.
Yeah.
Like, how much of my content have you been keeping up with recently?
Quite a bit.
You've also been busy as fuck. Okay, like the Smogon saga. Like, we're in the Verlisify always right arc right now. Everything I said about Smogon was right, admitted by their own people at this point. And I'm like, I just want 10x the views on that. I just want 10 times the people to know that I'm winning. But no, like, I'm just too suppressed. That's the part that hurts. That's the part that hurts more than anything.
It's weird because I'm a fan too. And I told you this the first time that we hung out and the first time we chatted. I was like, yeah, I'm a fan. I've been a fan since the beginning. I sat there and watched all of the best way to use this, blah, 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 is this.
How to use,
Yeah,
everything, yeah. Well, that's why I was just like, wait a second. Are we talking about, like, the person that's making PKA is a fan? Holy shit, that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, no, it is so fucking weird having those random ass fucking connections, man.
Yeah.
Those things that just randomly click and everybody's like, yeah, I wanted to be around too. It's like, why for you? You know me? Even you tangentially knowing me is fucking weird, let alone the 7 layers of hell that's available.
Yeah, and I've gone from fan to producer to you can hit me up on Discord an hour and a half before the show and get me on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and as a whole, I could have... My fucking chair just broke. The fuck?
We real boys. It's live time.
Yep. It's actually real. But holy fuck, my chair literally just broke. The screw came out of the side. But whatchamacallit? What the fuck was I saying? No, it's a really, really weird transition in that sense of going from one to then becoming the whole. Because as a whole, that's exactly what the fuck happened. I don't understand it either. It slowly fucking... How many people have that level of change in their life because they had a fucking Discord call? And the balls to say, yes, I'll do it. It's
Not
a weird
many.
fucking change, man.
Yeah, that's just the internet era. Like all the weird stuff just keeps happening. Like I started off making Minecraft videos, and then I went, wait a second, I'm actually like the best Pokemon player. Why don't I just use all this Minecraft YouTube experience? I have the recording set up, and then it just like immediately took off. I was like, oh, I am now my childhood hero. When I was like 7 and said I wanted to be a Pokemon trainer, I knew it wasn't possible, but it became possible. That's fucking weird.
No, no, exactly. Like, it's fucking weird. Like, I remember around the time when you started blowing up, I started uploading, like, fucking Showdown Lives. Just, oh, who knows? Something might take off. And then I uploaded a series called Shrouded Secrecy, where I kind of, like, broke down the shit around fucking conspiracy theories. And one of those blew up, but only because people hated my take of we shouldn't give a fuck about what happens there.
That was like the best YouTube though, when like dislikes actually pushed a video, because then you got just organic, like
Well,
content.
growth as a whole should not be like or dislike, it should be both. Even if something is disliked doesn't mean that it's bad, it just means that it's inciting what the fuck you're
It's
reacting
also
to.
very easy to brigade dislikes. So like, oh, if a dislike offsets 10 likes, then that means it just takes no one, like the tiniest amount of people, to just destroy content. That's dumb no matter what.
Well, nobody uses dislike as, oh, I don't like the content. Normally,
Mm.
it's I dislike the premise, and when they dislike the premise, all of a sudden everything else
Yeah,
gets withdrawn anyway. So it's like,
it's
what the fuck's your
absolutely
problem?
yeah, it's absolutely not a gauge of the quality of the content. That's just why they're worthless. I'm happy YouTube removed them, but now people are using like the plugins or the
They're still visible. They're still algorithm intensive. Like, it's
yeah.
fucking weird. It is
Yeah,
fucking weird.
because people like try to find them. Sometimes because the plugins are making a guess, it's like super off. Someone be like, "Wow, this video must really suck if it has 4,000 dislikes." I'm like, "It has 400
Yeah.
and 1,000 likes, and that's just because of haters."
No, it's very, very interesting, especially with your channel, looking at all of those
Oh
things
yeah,
and how
like
those things get affected.
yeah, like my channel is unique, which is crazy to say. Like out of all the millions of creators and billions of subscribers and views and stuff that just exist on YouTube, where it's like nothing, no one's channel is even remotely comparable to mine and how like uniquely fucked it is.
No, it's even interesting looking at things like PKA, looking at my channel with how some shorts are received and stuff like that. You can directly see for like a week or 2 weeks worth of just it decided to shit the bed in the algorithm because one short got fucking 25 dislikes and 15 likes. It's like
Hmm.
25 likes and 15 dislikes. I remember when that used to be interactions and that was really fucking important. Where the
Yeah.
fuck did that go? Just interact
That
with the video.
was I think I've said this on the show before, where it's like once Leafy blew up and YouTube didn't like his style of content, that's when like everything organic on the platform needed to be killed. That's when
Yep.
they were just like, nope, dislikes are actually bad now. That way, all the people offended can control the content instead of representing the quality of the content. And that's why YouTube sucks after 2017, because YouTube had to manually go in, change everything about promotion in the algorithm just to stop Leafy, and it has made the entire platform garbage for the last 6 years plus.
No, as a whole, it's absolutely fucked the entire system. The
Hmm.
entire fucking system is fucked.
And also, it's just RNG. If your video gets promoted to the right people and then you get 40 likes, 10 dislikes instead of 30 dislikes, 20 likes, just because of who it happened to show to at that moment and what mood they were in, like your content doesn't get a chance to be just fairly discovered anymore.
No, and the viewer click through rate is also fucking weird. Like, we were sitting there
Hmm.
fucking around with the thumbnail for the last episode that you were on that got banned on fucking YouTube. Fuck you, YouTube. Um, And literally, the thumbnail that you helped us make had a lower click-through rate than a custom thumbnail for the Wendigoon episode. But who knows if that's push, plugged, what the fuck it is. One succeeds or one doesn't. One showcases something much more heavily and the other doesn't. And it's just like there's no connective tissue to figure out how to make replicatable things like that for something to grow. Because as a whole, it's just
so random now.
Yeah, it's just inconsistent. And it's inconsistently inconsistent too. Sometimes it absolutely works all of the fucking time. Sometimes it shits the bed. Token, thank you for giving my kids Christmas with the Prime subscription.
Also, if I recall, like it took you like a week to get that thumbnail out for mine, right? Because it was stuck for a while. No.
No, so I had the one that me and you threw together originally, and I wanted to fucking clean something up because with OCD, it's very, very hard for me to look at something that isn't particularly exactly how I want it. So I might have a complete idea, but it's very hard for me to not only figure out or put to words exactly how that idea is. But if something doesn't look right or doesn't click right, it doesn't work. And it doesn't work in my head, which is what I was trying to say to you. But I'm like, this isn't it. There is no way in hell that this works. But it did. And I don't know. Like, click-through rate, it didn't do it. We saw that. Me and you were looking at the fucking stats when it was up. The click-through rate spiked because somebody shared it. Garen fucking T. Somebody bitched about it and it blew up. But I don't think that was click-through rate.
I thought the thumbnail wasn't like on the upload or like wasn't as live, so like your core audience didn't see it as much. So it's going to be kind of screwed anyways. I don't know. YouTube is just too hard to like decipher now.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. It's absolutely fucking weird.
Because I've shown my stats to people, I'm like, hey, this video got 15% click-through rate and 7-minute watch time, and it was only like 18 minutes long. They're like, huh, that should have 300,000 views for sure, not 2,000. I'm like, that's because like the entire system's fraudulent.
I still wonder. I wonder if you just went through with a brand new fucking account and uploaded something and saw what happened. I know at some point,
and then like nothing happened.
It dies, but I just wonder what the fuck happens. And I don't know if that's just like me playing a shit ton of video games like that and being like, oh, I'm just going to restart and say, let's see what happens. See how much better at it I am now.
I've tried it a couple times, and the thing is, like I said, I can't tap into that Minecraft magic of like making the first 4 or so videos pop. And by that point, I'm just like, my motivation is being Verlisify and having the best Pokemon takes. And if I have to like do incognito stuff on a side channel and then work like 10 times harder to try to get off the ground, I just stop. I just lose all passion for it.
I broke shorts for literally like a week and a half, and then they changed the algorithm, and I was fucking pissed.
Yep.
Literally, all you had to do is put hashtag shorts in your description, and literally numbers, and I don't understand where they came from. Thousands and thousands of views.
My problem is I hate all the new stuff, so I don't get like the YouTube inorganic promotion of it. Like when I first saw shorts, I'm like, TikTok sucks. I don't want to make short form content. I also don't like the portrait mode and having like fit all my content. Like this is stupid. So my passion was gone, even though like it was super free. Same thing when they did stories. Oh boy, YouTube, you know how to make great content and things that people want. And community posts. Community posts used to be so free, and then they just turned the faucet off when they were just like, oh, it didn't work. And then same thing for shorts, where it's like I got in at the very end of shorts and got like 2 decent video pushes, but by then YouTube was like, and free time's over.
No, exactly. And then the shit with what the fuck was it? It's just like Threads now. Threads is gonna die. I think it died literally at the beginning of this week. It went from
it's already dead. They were just like, it's down 80% already.
Yep. Fucking stupid people. I swear they just want to jump into the next thing to see if they can steamroll things into the next thing, and just hope that it keeps
Kick
growing.
Right now. Like the shilling I've seen on Kick, where it's just like, hey guys, since it's all new right now and Kick is offering millions of dollars, let's all build our community together. Drop your handle. Because they're trying to make it like, oh, I missed out on 2015 Twitch when it was discoverable, and now they're trying to do that with every platform.
I understand that because I've been in the Twitch depths for fucking years now.
Yeah.
All of the Twitch groups on Facebook, everywhere. Just because why the fuck wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you
Yeah.
try and grow in every single fucking way
What
possible?
seems like the most mega egregious one right now to me because they were just like, this is the chance, time to just like go all in, exploiting as much as possible, even though it's not going to work for pretty much anyone still. The culture's been solved.
Like the thing I hate, and I don't say that. Where's Myth, motherfucker? You've been gone for fucking months now. We'll go into that in a second. Go follow the new YouTube channel. I just put this one up there so that way you guys can start trickling over because we need to get over and get monetized over there. But like all of that shit's really fucking weird. And the thing that I hate, and I'm not saying this is hate towards Josh, but I don't like his take on it. He's like, why would I go somewhere else and rebuild again for a bigger bag when the people that pay my bills are my fans? Like, I understand, but more of their money goes to you than to Amazon. Isn't that what they would want?
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if it is a year from now, Kick is dead, or a year from now, Rumble is dead, or a year from now, they dissolve into Twitter, which is what I still think is going to happen. I would not be surprised if those things, like 95% payouts, end up extending, going straight across towards whatever it becomes next.
Yeah.
Like, as a whole, it's stupid to be like, oh, I'm not going to go for the money. Brother, this is your job.
Mm-hmm.
It does not matter where that bag comes from.
Also, if you just only lose 10-20% of your audience, cause the thing is, like, when you have a small but dedicated audience, they'll follow you. I get 140 viewers on a YouTube live stream. If I go over to Rumble, it's 110. So it's like most of them are coming over, and then depending on where you jump, if it's Kick, if it's wherever, and then you're just getting twice the amount because they're not taking 40%. Well, it's like you're just winning, and you didn't even bleed your audience, and now you're on a better platform for promotion potential.
No, exactly. And that's why I ended up doing a multi-stream tonight. And I think I'm probably going to do this for the next couple weeks as we grow with the next few guests. We have one hell of a fucking month and a half, 2 months here.
Oh, he told me it's good.
I'm gonna start going through these. So we have Verlis tonight, which was a last minute guest. I was like, dude, you want to come on and hang out? Then we have Wendy next week. Then we have AK the week after. Ricada will be in there some point. I'm talking to the dude from Trapped, the dude who sings Headstrong from all of our childhood.
Nice.
And then there's like 2 or 3 more music artists in there. But I don't know how many people the community post went out to 6-7 months ago now. Nope, almost 8 months ago now. There is a new YouTube channel for this show. It is RMTS Pod on YouTube. I don't have the link because, all of my screens are taken up. I will pop into the Twitch chat and post it here, the YouTube chat, and post it here at some point. I think the link tree is in all of the descriptions, but I'm not positive. But go over to the new YouTube channel, and all of the new episodes are there. There's episodes with Harley and everything else. If you're asking where Myth is, Myth left because of falling in love with a Chinese Twitch streamer, saying very, very racist things on her Twitch stream, and then getting kicked out of her live stream, going through and then using that as a reason to leave his entire friend group, getting his life back together, and then complaining that we're all the reason why his life was so fucked up. So I haven't talked to Myth other than... Nope. Haven't talked to Myth at all in the past year. This week would be I think it's like the first week of August is the last week that Myth was on. First week that Ippo was on. It's been a fucking weird time. But yeah.
Everyone's been having a fucking weird time, it seems.
Oh no, it's been really fucking weird. As a whole, it does not make sense. As a whole, it just everything's all convoluted and complicated.
And as that's going on, Ippo's still not here.
Nope, Ippo's still not here. That motherfucker, he falls asleep shitting 90% of his life, I swear.
That sounds like a medical problem that needs to be addressed.
No, you have no idea. He'll be like, yeah, I went to go take Jack for a walk. sat down with him to pet him for a few minutes before I got ready for the show and fell asleep. My boy has the most fucked up sleep schedule. He's like Wings of Redemption in 2008 sleep schedule wise.
Wow. The callback.
Yep.
There was like a guy in my friend group, like Discord friend group, where he would just always just randomly fall asleep on call, where we'd just be like, he would immediately get out of like a game lobby and like 10 seconds later just be
Yep.
on call. And it's like, no way, he has to be screwing with us. No, dude's narcolepsy was outrageous.
Yep, he's out. It's all good. It is what it is.
It's like we were just talking, like halfway through a sentence. Like if you cut him off through a sentence, asleep.
There were times that I've fallen asleep on stream, but falling asleep on a video call or something like that. Mm-hmm. Like that shit happens. Absolutely. Don't disagree. But as a whole, that shit does not happen always. Like I've had times where Kringle Dingle in the fucking Twitch chat, he'd be like, yeah, Zach, I made sure that there were no fucking dudes that came up behind you and fucked you in the ass. Okay, thanks, man. Your camera just went to absolute dog shit. Holy fuck.
Yeah. Well, I think that was the autofocus because I was looking to check on my dog.
But whatchamacallit? Like that shit happens. That shit happens every now and then. You get fucking sleepy. You're sitting there playing a game, half awake, and you fucking fall asleep. As I'm playing with the fucking spring from my shock mount. But that shit happens every now and then, and you just fucking drift off, and you're like, either I go to sleep now or I'm gonna fall asleep in the chair. And some days you just wait a bit too long.
Mm-hmm.
Waiting a bit too long fucking sucks. Because it's always the wrong fucking time for that shit to happen. Oh. It is what it is, man.
Yep.
So, what did you think of Tears of the Kingdom? Because you are the first person that I've actually been able to have a conversation with about it.
Ooh, finally, we actually like get some good gaming conversation. Because like, that is one of those things where sometimes if you're just watching a podcast, or I think the last couple times I've been on, you were talking about some other game and like haven't been involved with too much, or it's like someone that doesn't understand Pokemon too well, and I either have to explain Pokemon or everyone's just kind of glazing over. But Tears of the Kingdom is so good. I think it just kind of hits like that everything game aspect. It's where if you give someone sandbox freedom and you design it really well, and you don't, like, I think a big problem that devs have is they want to overly balance it and then, like, try to nerf it so you don't break the game. Tears of the Kingdom is, like, embracing breaking it because it's still a base hard game. So,
it's like
it's
like a Modern Warfare 2 competitive lobby of, like, Breath of the Wild. Where everything is broken, you can put everything together. It does not matter which way you build it, it's broken. Mm-hmm. You can break the entire fucking game.
Cool and the game is so large where it's like, I made like a supersonic flying machine that can like just hop from Sky Island to Sky Island. Well, you need the resources like the giant energy cores to power that thing, or to build it, or to get the components, and the map is still fucking massive anyway, so you just spent 10 hours for like the tiniest fraction of the game.
No, I played probably like 2 hours of it before launch, like the day before launch. Game was absolutely beautiful, worked flawlessly. I was like, am I going to dive my feet into this when I have 50 fucking things going on? Nope, I'm not.
Unlucky.
And then I got brought into Zelda again this weekend, and it was one of the coolest fucking things in the world. So I got a ROG Ally, which is essentially a Steam Deck or a portable desktop that you can use as a gaming system. You know what those are?
Yeah, I'm like, I've seen it or heard it at some point, but I'm not like super caught up. But yeah.
So I got one of those for my kids for downstairs, so that way they could essentially emulate N64, PS2, all of that stuff, so that way we could play the games from my childhood, all the games that they keep asking about, like Pokemon Fusion games, all of that shit. And, you know, a hell of a lot cheaper to play that than try and get every little game on Switch. You know what I'm talking about. So,
you also know that I do not like that at all. But
I know. Hey, it is what it is. I understand. There are things that I will buy and there are things that I won't be. My daughter's like, can we play Zelda? So I turned on Ocarina of Time. She's like, Dad, when was this game made? Because I turned on the N64 one. She's like, when was this made? I said, 3 years after I was born. She said, oh, that's why it looks horrible. I said, kid, you don't know the half of it. This was a beautiful game then.
Yeah. It was impossible to, like, fathom anything like that could be made or played.
The fact that so many of those games, especially that one, have been in everybody's top 5 games of all time. And people now are like, what are these graphics? Even like the remasters and shit don't change how it looks. It literally just cleans up the movement. That's all it does.
Yeah. You just get it on a more modern engine. Some of the laggy areas don't lag anymore because it's just like that fresh emulation. But it's the same game, and it still just holds up so well.
Most of the stuff they don't even like retexture it. It's really really interesting to see the remastered stuff that people do. But I'm excited to see their reaction to Breath of the Wild, and not Breath of the Wild.
I gotta piss. You gotta fill some air.
Yep.
I drank too much G Fuel before the start.
Yep,
That's the only problem. If you stay hydrated. Also,
no.
I can still hear you. I got my headset on.
Yeah, just make sure to mute yourself. We don't want to hear you piss. Yeah, that's.
I've made that mistake before on stream.
Yeah, we don't want to turn this into a fursuit wetsuit competition. I don't think that's a good idea at all. But yeah, I'm excited to explore Tears of the Kingdom. I might even play fucking Hogwarts now that I have the availability to. So I'm excited about those two things. I think it's time. I think it's time after 8 months to actually play the fucking games that I've been excited to play now. Actually devote some time to them and enjoy them. It's been fucking months since I've actually had a game that I wanted to play, so now since GTA is dying, now it's time to jump into some more stuff and enjoy it. Who the fuck knows how the hell that's gonna go? Especially with the way Call of Duty's going and all of that shit. That game's fucking dying. So now's the time to just fuck around with all of everything.
The thing about Call of Duty is that it's mostly the cheaters that killed it for me. I was enjoying even the map changes, even post-Verdansk and stuff like that, where people were having complaints. I'm like, if I wasn't getting cheated against every round, or the games where it's just like, that might have been a really good legit player, but it's just too sus for me to like hold it. Like, that's when you know a game's fucked. When like legitimately there's enough cheaters to where like almost every death is that's pulling me out of it. I don't know, man.
Okay, so as a whole, it is very hard not to overrate how you play a game. I'm very much like you, where I am one of the better players that I know, and it is very hard for me not to be egotistical in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it is like 80% of the time I believe that person is a hacker, or they were able to know where I was because they heard me, not because they are better than me. 90% of the time, they're not better than me. I'm probably better. Yeah. So it is very, very easy for me to fall into that trap of everybody is hacking.
Well, the problem is when that's actually not the trap. Because I remember it's like earlier on in Warzone, it's like, yeah, we were dominating. I could go into another game, also keep dominating. And it's like, oh, there's more talk of hackers. Oh, there's like, I'm actually seeing, you know, you spectate someone into the final circle and they're just like, pew, 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 pew. And it's like, okay, so that was a legitimate hacker in the lobby that has 50 people watching this guy, getting ready to chew him out like at the end lobby. So it's like, okay, there are more hackers and they are blatant. But then what about the ones that, you know, they have that undetectable extra little bit of like aim assist on them?
Yep.
Where it's like, it's right on the fringe. It's like, they're still cheating. They did not exist at the beginning, and I would not have lost to him otherwise. Well, and that's happening in half my games, and it's like you're gaslighting yourself to where it's like, no, it's a legitimate cheating problem, but you also get like people saying, no, you're just bad. It's ego.
No, exactly. Like, I remember in Modern Warfare 3, I used the M14 for probably like a month and a half. And if you remember the M14 in fucking Modern Warfare 3, thing was fucking broken. It was the only gun I liked in the game. Mm-hmm. I mastered every single gun. That was the gun I stuck to. I would use it with rapid fire, without rapid fire, and every single one of my friends would ask me, oh, are you playing a modded controller? Why the fuck would I play with a modded controller? Who the fuck gives that much of a fuck that I need to use a rapid fire controller? Well, you shoot it too fast. But you've played 3 fucking Call of Duty games with me. You know that I pull to the fucking semi-auto guns because I can use them better than most people. Why wouldn't you assume that I'm just better?
I remember those discussions where just like it was all about how fast you could semi-auto. It was, yeah.
Whatchamacallit? Token said they ruined Warzone and DMZ. I don't dislike the things that they did with DMZ. I don't. And Ippo complained about them. Quite a few of our friends complained about them. The only reason that DMZ is bad now is there's nothing to work for. If they had a shop that was outside of the game, just like fucking Tarkov, there would be a reason to play the game. I don't play the game for XP. All of the custom vests that you can build, that shit's fucking cool. The different characters, that way you can save character slots for when you're playing by yourself. That shit's fucking cool. I like the next level of customization to it. Do I think they implemented it perfect? Absolutely not.
See, I think it's also a problem with modern gamers to where if there were flaws in a game like that, but we
Keep
really
talking, I
wanted
gotta
to
grab
make
the
the
dogs.
game. Okay. Okay, good. I thought there was something wrong. So, that's like the flaw. That's what I don't like about modern gamers is that we used to fight through the flaws. We would still play the game and make the most of it because if the community was just playing it or all your friends are playing it, the game is more fun like that. And this is a big thing with me when it comes to Pokemon because I think Pokemon is as strong as the community regardless of the game because we've seen all of these like quality of life changes that have happened over the years with getting competitive Pokemon. And it used to be like 10 times longer to make a competitive Pokemon and battle, but people did it in larger numbers then, but now they just complain about everything. So there's less to like keep people motivated inside the game. I still think that the biggest problem with Call of Duty is the cheating.
Oh,
And that's
it absolutely is. The, the the main problem with a lot of the shit that I've seen with quality of life changes causing a lot of problems. We're going to talk about Starfield in a second. I don't really know much about it. I'm sure Burles might. I know Ippo did, but I don't fucking. I guess he's not coming today. He fell asleep on the shitter again. But whatchamacallit? As a whole, the way that the things are done now are definitely more beneficial. I'll let the fucking dog upstairs and then she whines upstairs. The fuck? Fucking whiny bitch.
my dog. Not as many problems over here.
Yeah, she's not slapping you yet, telling you and yelping at you. That shit was hilarious, that episode. But whatchamacallit?
It's too hot out. She's
The
just
way
in front of the AC, getting chilled.
the way that you're able to just throw mons out and level them up without actually having to go hard into battles and everything else is such a beneficial fucking thing. That was the worst part of the entire fucking game.
And yet people are complaining about it not working for them more, so the game's dead despite the improvements. And I think that just kind of is seen everywhere in gaming, and no one's having fun. Great,
No, everyone's
awesome.
complaining and bitching for no fucking reason.
Yeah, and then that just kind of goes back to the older games, where I've also seen a trend where now you're supposed to hate on the older games. Even like I've been seeing like some shade getting thrown at Mario 64, Zelda Ocarina of Time. Not Majora's Mask. It's like flipped. It used to be OOT better than Majora's Mask. Now it's OOT was fraudulent the entire time. It's only about Majora's Mask, and that was the only good N64 game, by the way, because everything else was like too glitchy or looked like crap. And
It seems like everybody
these
is
kids
just
just
a
didn't
bunch
grow
of
up with it.
edgelords now.
Yeah. Apparently X and Y sucks now too. Have you caught on to that? Like X and Y, no one had a problem with it. Everyone hated Black and White when I was coming through Pokemon, and X and Y was the revival. Everyone was like, "Oh, game's dead. Gen 5, Pokemon's cooked." And then X and Y came out. They're like, "This is the Renaissance. I'm going to love Pokemon again." And now,
It seems
a
like that
decade
started
after,
with Black and White 2 almost. Like the Renaissance.
yeah, no, nothing Gen 5 was salvageable for me and my friend group. But
Go ahead, continue what you were saying. Yep.
well, I'm saying like Gen 5 is its own can of worms, but
Yep.
yeah, now all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, X and Y was worse than Black and White 2 and had no content and was the worst game. I'm like, that was when people had worked for Pokemon more than I'd ever seen. Like people were actually spending hundreds of hours to make competitive
Yeah.
teams because hacking wasn't a thing early 3DS because it wasn't like solved at that point or
Yeah.
the RNG wasn't jailbroken yet. And there was no RNG, so you couldn't just like RNG seed like in Gen 5. So people wanted to care and wanted to work for Pokemon. But then like now a decade later, everyone's like, no, X and Y was actually just the worst 3DS game when no one had a bad thing to say about it when it was happening.
No, it's really, really fucking weird. And the way that Pokemon goes, and we can go back to Pokemon in a second, but the peak for me when I looked at Pokemon and where it dropped and then where it came back is really, really interesting. And I think that's an interesting conversation. Do you know anything about this Starfield thing?
Nah,
I've seen it pop up.
I thought it was like, was it like a Kickstarter from very long ago, and then it was like going to happen, not going to happen, not going to happen. Everyone gave up on it. Now it's happening.
So
I think it's been like just dragged on for so long. I don't care.
if I remember correctly, which I probably don't, I
Oh,
absolutely
Star Citizen was the one I was thinking of.
Yep.
See, too much nonsense.
Oh, we'll go back to Pokemon. We got a Pokemon YouTuber on. It would be kind of shitty to just steer away from Pokemon entirely. I don't do that. We kind of hyper focus on shit. But Starfield as a whole, I think, was Bethesda making it. It's like their third thing that they're gonna have in the circle.
Yeah.
With Fallout and Skyrim. So to me, I don't like Fallout and I don't like Skyrim. So as a whole, those games kind of don't. Those
It's
don't
going to be
interest
like
me at all. But
No Man's Sky, Minecraft, Skyrim, and that actually sounds interesting. But I think it's one of those things where the project has taken so long that I'm not interested until it becomes a thing. So I don't have much to say, and I don't think they've shown a lot.
It's weird. Fantasy things as a whole. And I know Zelda and Pokemon make this sound absolutely fucking retarded because I love those series. But I don't like space fantasy and I don't like Dungeons, Dragons, Castle fantasy. All of it just sounds fucking pointless to me almost. It just sounds like bullshit. And I don't know.
There's Dungeons, Dragons, and Castles in Legend of Zelda, you hypocrite.
I know. And I know that's hypocritical. That is the only piece of content that I'm like, yes, that.
That is fantasy nailed perfectly to where it doesn't go like too extreme, too fantastical, and just is a solid adventure.
Yeah, almost. It's just weird because everybody's like, oh, Skyrim, oh, Game of Thrones. And I'm like, no, none of it. None of it. But it's the same thing with fucking space shit too. Star Wars is the same. I don't fucking care. I don't. It's just desensitized to the point where I just don't pay attention to it at all.
Also, another weird thing that I've noticed with gaming, and I've been talking about my friends with, and they're kind of like denial-y about it, is that the older games just did it too good, and now even if you're like trying to add more onto it, it doesn't stick. Because like no matter all the new games and MMOs and stuff out there,
I don't think it's too good. I think they overachieved.
Whatever ended up happening, where it's like my friends always go back to World of Warcraft, even with like New World coming out, even with all these other MMOs, Final Fantasy they did not care for, or any of that. And then if I'm ever bored, modded Minecraft.
Yep.
I find a sick Minecraft mod pack and I'll play that for 100 hours in a month, and that's how I go back to my gaming fix. So I'm like, why would I play Starfield when I could just find another game or go back to Skyrim or do modded Skyrim or modded Minecraft? And it's one of those things where like even though we have all these big projects, they don't hold up the same, and it's so weird. Except Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom is like the first time where I've been like, wow, this game was worth getting invested into.
No, it's really weird because I find myself falling right back to the same series or right back to the same games. In Call of Duty, I'll end up turning it off. This fucking chair is absolutely fucking broken. I gotta fix it. I was gonna continue streaming after this. Chair is fucked, boys. I gotta tighten that fucking
Chair
screw.
stream? You gotta learn how to market yourself, like when you do like a cooking stream or just chatting.
Oh, I absolutely have done a cooking stream. I made a fucking pumpkin cheesecake. That was a blast.
Oh, that sounds delicious. That's my favorite thing ever.
Yep. And then my oven broke, so then I couldn't continue doing cooking streams.
That sucks.
Yep. And it's not that it hasn't been fixed. I fixed it 3 times in the past year.
Yeah.
The coil
Speaking of
keeps
pumpkin
burning out
cheesecake
on
like
the
that.
bottom
I'm
of the
I'm a
fucking oven.
pumpkin like just
Connoisseur?
thought. I'm not even connoisseur. I am like the ultimate basic pumpkin season. Actually, wait, I got like a fall themed Mimikyu shirt on right now. Like that is my yearly vibe. Is I will make pumpkin work no matter
Yeah,
what.
I love
all the
pumpkin
time.
too. It's
Yeah.
always the go-to thing.
I am the stereotype white girl pumpkin enjoyer, at heart. So that's why when I hear pumpkin cheesecake, I'm like, that's it, my man.
Yep.
And it reminded me of when I lived in Colorado, that the best dessert I've ever had in my life was a honey pumpkin cheesecake that a random coffee shop had, but I was only allowed to get one slice because of the demand, and they never had it again. And it just haunts me to this day. So I'm triggered by pumpkin cheesecake, no matter how much I love it.
I love me some pumpkin
Because it
cheesecake.
had like this honey sauce on top, and it was like the perfect blend of pumpkin cheesecake with the sweetness and all
That
that. Gone
stream,
forever.
that stream was fucking crazy. There was 500 people in chat.
How?
Taylor rated me.
Oh, that was a Taylor raid?
Yeah, it was the second time that he did it. But yeah,
A Taylor raid.
I wish. I wish. Those days were fucking insane. But yeah, that it crashed my computer. Had a fucking 2.5 hour long live stream of just Q&A bullshitting with people. It was a fucking blast.
Different
I miss
time.
getting those numbers. And they'll go back. I need to get back
Yeah.
averaging things and doing things better. But yeah, so
It's weird how that just doesn't really happen as much anymore for like streaming. Everyone, like, audiences are just so burned out on it, and the groups just don't promote like that anymore.
it's like those groups completely died, and there's none that are growing to become back to what the other groups were.
Yeah, and again, I think that's on viewers as well. That viewers don't get involved like that anymore.
Yeah.
They just want like brain dead React content, so they all funnel into like nonsense like XQC or Destiny or something or Hassan. But that's where they all are now, instead of like having good, fulfilling content crossovers.
You almost got me to go into a joke about a man wearing a dress. You've never seen that picture of Hassan wearing a dress?
No, but at the
It's-
same time, it's like, yeah, not worth sidetracking on, but it's
Nope.
still something I
Nope,
feel.
absolutely hilarious. So the peak in Pokemon, and I don't know if this is from me stopping playing or what, and me seeing it slightly differently. But so Gen 1 and 2 grew because I think that the growth of Pokemon grew and everything else. And it's
Well,
sort
also
of,
the marketing was like
yeah,
100% 90s full throttle lawlessness.
and it actually
green ketchup.
hit. Yeah, and it
Yeah.
hit. With Gen 3, it sort of plateaued at that level that Gen 2 came out at.
Correct.
And then it dropped for Gen 4
Correct.
and to the end of Gen 5. With Black and White 2, it then respiked because then they influxed all of the old Pokemon in the new game. And it had another like resurgence almost. Not to the level of where Gen 2 and 1 were, but definitely started the spike that Gen 6 hit. Is that how you see it, or am I absolutely fucking crazy?
I see all that up until what you say about Black and White 2. I saw Black and White 2 as like the bottoming or like continuing the trough that Black and White set, because no one cared about Black and White, and Black and White 2 wasn't good enough for my friends to get back into it or give another look at Pokemon. They still thought like the Generation 5 Pokemon sucked. My overall look around was like no one was really engaged with it. I would say it was maybe an uptick for Pokemon fans. Like the Pokemon community was like, well, this is a lot better than Black and White, so we have something better now. But I still think it was under.
It might have even been that, and it might have been the ease of everybody being able to make Pokemon and stuff like that. And I understand that's not positive for you, but I understand where that would be a positive elsewhere. And
So
then you
I
see
think I'm going to like do a graph like this where it's just like Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4, Black and White, but then like Black and White 2 getting right below Gen 4, and then like X and Y just brought Pokemon back. Not to exactly where Gen 1 was, but
I would even do
very
you
similar.
one more. I would think Gen 4 might be almost a plateau with Gen 5.
I still saw like a good amount. Like people look back fondly on Gen 4 and people still talk about
But
it.
I
Like
think-
those who were in were still like Gen 4, I'll
But
make it work.
how
I still
many
care.
people played and how many people did it might not have been to the same level of Gen 1, 2, and
Oh yeah, it
the
wasn't.
beginning of
That's
3. That's what my point
That's why I
was.
don't see it was as bad. But like I think it goes back to that Pokemon thing where Pokemon fans, like if you were still in Pokemon, Gen 4 was great, but it wasn't ubiquitous.
Yeah. It's really weird, and I think this might be an easy way to do this. What is your ranking?
There's a lot to take in on that one. Are we talking about games or generations?
Do generations because games as a whole is fucking dumb.
Yeah, because like the game says like Heart Gold Soul Silver's best game. Like we could just
But
say that right
but
now.
they're the same game, so you can't say as a generation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, but the thing is, oh, that was also something else where Heart Gold and Soul Silver as remake games didn't sell that great, but that's like everyone's most loved game. So it's like weird where that falls into on like how the scale goes.
The art
Um,
and the way it looks is the best in the series. The gameplay and the story is one of the worst.
what? Nah, absolutely not. The gameplay is near flawless. The
No,
only flaw in that game.
the reason
Oh,
why I say gameplay and story were shit was the leveling curve of going up to Kanto and then it dropping right back down to level 5. I understand the reason why it does that, but the gym leaders and everything else do not grow with you the way they should, nor are the
the gym
levels
leaders
high enough.
scaled. It was only the wild Pokemon that were low, if I remember. I thought the gym leaders were all like post Elite
So
Four level.
4, 5, 6, and 7. So after Mortius 4, so it's 5,
Mhm.
6, and 7. All of them are within 4 levels of each other, 5 levels of each other.
That's because you can actually skip to price
And
after.
I agree with that being available, but they should have at that point they should have coded it to where they grow with you.
I've never like knocked a Pokemon game because of the leveling curve on that.
I'm just saying story and gameplay wise, that is the major negative. It feels like you're playing in fucking sludge because then you go back and you fight the rockets that are at level 20 and you're supposed to be going into gym 8 and it's fucking retarded.
Yeah, but the experience kind of made it tricky to where like if you weren't battling every single trainer along the way, you could get under leveled. You could have like level 30 Pokemon going into price if you
Oh, and if you
play it.
don't level cap yourself, you can over level really, really fucking quickly too. It's stupid. That's
I
why
don't
I
know.
think
I never
gameplay
over
wise.
leveled Gen 2.
Oh, Gen 2. No. Gen 4. The remakes. Absolutely.
I don't think so because I remember for my first Heart Gold Soul Silver playthrough, I beat the Elite Four with level 40s. Like Ampharos at level 41 and Lugia that was just caught at level 40 were like my two highest Pokemon.
Yep. But to me, if that is the end of the game, or end of the major climax of the story, because there's no story after that, other than the one cutscene with Silver, then there is zero reason that they shouldn't be 80s or 60s. It should
I
be
don't know.
a gradual thing to 60, if that's what you wanted to make it, and then make the gym leaders in Kanto from 60 to 80, and then Red 90.
I mean, Heart Gold Soul Silver, the gym leaders were still level 50. Brock, Heart Gold Soul Silver is level 50s,
Oh,
and that
absolutely.
was
I was
following
just
like
saying
I think
growth
Lance
wise.
had level 40s.
I'm just saying growth wise, it would make sense going like that because you would want the end of the game to be more elongated, like you would in Call of Duty levels. Level 1 is not the same as level 55. But yeah, so my lowest game, my least favorite game, is Gen 4.
Ooh, why?
I haven't played Alola, so I can't put that game in specifically. Gen 4, I don't like the way it plays. It movement is absolutely dog shit. So doing anything in the game, it
The
just
slow
feels like you're
meme
in
health
sludge.
bars.
Yep. It does not help people with ADHD. It is not fun.
Mm.
I do
Can't
like the
relate to that,
Pokemon.
so.
I don't like the game. Like the
See,
Pokemon, don't like the game.
I found like the whole experience just kind of work, even like through the slow moments, to where like you still felt like you were on a Pokemon adventure the whole time. So I enjoyed Generation 4 for that.
So to me, the worst two worlds are Gen 3, Gen 4. Map wise. Gen
Too
4,
much
you
water.
travel through the mountain 60 fucking times. Gen 3, there's 80 gallons worth of water you got to swim through. It's the same problem on both of them.
Hmm. Yeah, going through the map, bit rough.
Yeah.
On those two.
So Gen 4 is my least favorite. What is yours?
Black and White, Gen 5,
Yeah.
of course.
I didn't know
the
if it was
funny
going to
thing
be
is,
that or Alola.
I recently did the video going through the interview where they talked about like Gen 5 being easier because the kids these days weren't finishing the games. So that's why they were like, fine, we'll just make it a fucking straight line. You go up and then you circle and then you're done. So they like got rid of those pain points, but I still didn't have a problem with getting like backtrack through Mount Coronet or getting a little lost in Gen 4.
It wasn't getting lost. It was just I don't like going through the same areas over and over again.
See, I didn't have a problem with that.
Like a line, you could make a line go everywhere, right? As a whole, it would be different locations going through the mountain 50 different times. But when you make them all exactly the same or they're not connected, it's kind of weird. Like
And
map-wise,
all
it
like
doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it was the old weird HM gating as well, to where it's like you walk through it one way, oh now there's a boulder, oh now there's surfing.
Yeah, it's just stupid. So to me, if I'm going to do the bottom... Okay, let's just do it this way. It's probably the easier way to go about it. Top 5. What is your 5th?
5th. Okay, well now there's 9 generations.
Yep.
See, the problem is, again, it's so hard to like just kind of top into Pokemon because it's like, is it the whole game? Is it the map? Is it the experience? Is it the totality of the generation?
Everything.
Everything. Oh man, everything. 5th. Okay, I think it's just better to just do all 9 and go from the bottom up.
No, go ahead.
So we have Generation 5, Black and White's at the bottom. The Dex was the worst. The linear story I wasn't having. The story itself with like, oh, PETA Pokemon and N being some weird special kid. Like, okay, was not sold on any of that. Didn't find it engaging or interesting. So now we have to kind of like build up from there. I would put Hoenn at 8th. Even though I think Ruby Sapphire are fine, Generation 3 was like, it just felt like a different continuation of Pokemon. It was different, but it
felt
had
like Pokemon, but it wasn't exactly what you needed at the same time. Which is why
I just remember being a kid
dropped.
and seeing like Trico for the first time and Game Informer like early viewing, and like you run into a Pelipper and a Zigzagoon and you're like, this is still Pokemon.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's, and I actually enjoyed that. Like thinking about that, it had its own freshness to it, but it didn't hit super hard. So I think that's where I'll put Ruby Sapphire Emerald. Then also all the water exploration. It's one of those things where like, how I feel about Pokemon is it's all good except for Black and White.
Yeah.
But if you're making me choose, then it's like, all right, Gen 3. Outside of that, Alola wasn't bad. Generation 4 wasn't bad. Kanto's great. Johto's great. I don't like see now it's almost impossible for me to kind of like break those things down in that kind of way. If I have to choose though, I would put Alola under Pokemon X and Y or the Kalos region. So then I think maybe that means 7th is Alola. I don't know. This is something that needs to be scripted.
So my favorite, I'll do it the easy way. Gen 1 by far is my favorite. Not just because I'm a Gen 1er. It's the first game I play. It's the game I feel nostalgic to. Absolutely, I don't think that that's not part of it. I don't think it's all of it though. It brings you back to that level. I think that it's still able to be experienced and enjoyed now, whether it's the normal game or the remake.
Oh, it's timeless. It will
It
always
works.
work.
It just works. I think my number 2 is probably X and Y. Think so. I like megas. I like adding new ways to enjoy the Pokemon that they brought new stuff to.
I think it had the right amount of freshness too, because I remember just like going through and like every route was fun. You go into a new route and you're just like, ooh,
the map
these
is
new
fucking
Pokemon
amazing.
are cool.
Yep.
The map is great. Everything just was just like that right kind of fresh. It did what Hoenn did, but like perfected.
I wish that they added more megas in or more new evolutions in. Like if they added in Farigiraf to Gen 6, would be happy. If they added in all of the things that they needed to add in, perfect fucking game. I don't think that happens though. I think number 3 would be Scarlet and Violet because of the way it looks, not because of how filled out everything is. I think there is things that it needs to be perfect or could definitely do better. But as a whole, the game itself is enjoyable.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I'm thinking, like, if we're going by games, it's a lot easier for me to say, like, games instead of totality. Yeah. But then thinking about it, it kind of becomes the same thing, where it's like, Heart Gold, Soul Silver number 1. But Johto also number 1 because of that.
Yeah, exactly. But Gen 4 to me, which would be Heart Gold, Soul Silver,
Hmm.
brings it down to probably fourth. That's probably where it's at because I don't like fucking Sinnoh. I don't like the fucking map. I don't like most of the Pokemon. Some of them are great. Some of them are fucking horrible.
Hmm.
Map is horrible. Story is kind of off the fucking wall. And you get to catch Pokemon God because, we have to shoehorn that in somehow.
See, that was when I just stopped caring about the story in Pokemon
That's
games.
that's the problem is I never experienced those games as a kid. There is no nostalgia to it for me.
Hmm.
None.
Well, it's also one of those things where the games are not made to be story based. The games are supposed to be like you get like this is just a formality to get you to champion, and then the game opens up. Like I think 90% of Pokemon game is outside the story in the post game, so I don't really knock a game too much if it has a bad story, except for Black and White just being that bad. And then
So I think Gen 4 mainly because of Heart Gold and Soul Silver dragging it the fuck up as hard as it possibly can
yeah,
is number 4, and then you probably have Black 2, White 2 is 5th. Or
yeah.
Sword and Shield. They're kind of replaceable at that
I would
point.
say that Black and White would drag Black and White 2 below Sword and Shield.
I didn't I've never fully played the game competitively.
Mm.
So as a whole, I can't judge the entire game. I can only judge what I did. I enjoyed the game, but also at times it seemed like everything was kind of just thrown together.
All right, so here's how I'll throw it down. So we got Pokemon Heart Gold Soul Silver number 1. I'm counting that as like Gen 2
Yeah.
in because that's where it gets too messy. Pokemon Let's Go, my second favorite game. Let's Go is so good because
Yep.
like you're on a Pokemon adventure the whole time. The catch combos incredible. You also still have freedom in the gym placement, and that's also what made Kanto so good. Is that I think the most nutty order you can do is you go. I think you can go Brock, Misty, Koga, Blaine in Kanto in red and blue version,
Hmm.
and then you can just do whatever. And they kind of preserved some of that in Let's Go, so you still could just like it was almost like an open world game back then.
I
It's just
remember
really
I
hard to.
remember playing Radical Red, and that's the Nuzlocke for the voice acting thing. I fucking got lost, and it wasn't because like I didn't know Kanto. It's because I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
I normally go to Koga now. Fuck, Erica's first, Sabrina's first. Why the fuck do I go to Koga now?
Hmm.
Why? And I go down there and I'm like, all of these levels are fucking nope. Nope. This entire recording scrapped. I went the wrong fucking way. These people are fucking level 50, and I'm not supposed to be here now.
Yeah, that makes it trickier on Nuzlocke. But if you're a kid, you can just do whatever you
Oh,
want. You're like, I
absolutely.
guess I struggle now. I guess I'm just stuck here until I get level 50.
No, I remember playing Pokemon Red and doing weird shit. But finish your list.
Yeah. Then after that, I have Pokemon X and Y, then Scarlet and Violet, then fifth is whatever. Like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire is like the best game on the 3DS, but I don't like Hoenn as much.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm gonna cheat. Wait, actually no, that's cheating because Heart Gold Soul Silver I count as Gen 2, or S I count as Gen 6, and then that's the top 5.
Yeah. Gen 6 has to be in there.
Hmm.
Heart Gold Soul Silver has to be in there. Gen 1 is either borderline or top, depending on who you are.
Yeah, like I said, Let's Go is
Yeah.
great, and also since Gen 2 has Gen 1 inside of it, that
Yeah,
gives it the
exactly.
points with Heart Gold Soul Silver for me. We got Nip Slip Archives. This podcast used to be legendary. What happened? What's your problem? Huh?
This podcast, what changed so badly that made you fucking leave, bud?
Yeah.
It's a laid back episode, man. There's a lot of shit that's going on. It's a fucking.
Also, it's just good for like critique and
Yeah.
yeah, let's bring it back. All right, how do we make it legendary again?
Yeah. Is it just Josh? I don't think I can go get a felony. I don't think that that's the level that we need to go to.
30 minutes of Pokemon talk is too bad, and then like it's dead forever now.
Yeah, man. We're dead. Shit happens. No,
See,
it's really fucking weird, man. It's people are so fucking fickle with shit.
yeah. And that's also one thing I think I talk about every time I come on, so it kind of becomes the samey, where it's weird because Pokemon is the largest franchise in the world, but you never hear about it on podcasts unless it's like incorrect information where people that like don't quite remember
Or
playing
it's
Red and Blue in their
nostalgia
childhood.
and
Yeah.
rose-colored glasses and
Or they just like are hearing the secondhand information from the toxic idiot Pokemon community. Like whenever last year was the worst for me as like the best most dedicated Pokemon fan that makes content and stuff, because every podcast was like, yeah, Pokemon Legends, I heard that's a great open world Pokemon game. I'm just like, you just said like 3 lies and you haven't even played it and you know nothing else about Pokemon, and now you're just spreading this like wrong information and no one's there to correct you because no one else does it. So that's like it's ubiquitous. And then it's hard to integrate.
It could have been so good, and it was so not.
I know. Like, but that's the thing. Like, we could go off on that rant, but people aren't here for Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is a year-and-a-half old game or whatever.
Oh, I know, and it's just ADHD. It just goes through the fucking bouts and.
And even if this was like a large podcast that has big names where hundreds of thousands of people are watching, because like, hey, that's FPS Russia, but you're still not going to find that conversation or enough interest,
I think the quality of the podcast has been on the decline. Brother, you asked where Myth was.
Isn't that it?
That's just... If you don't understand where somebody is hasn't been a part of the show in almost a year, the quality of the podcast is completely different on different platforms. I'm streaming it to that YouTube channel to try and get some of you guys over there that didn't transfer over to the new channel. So you guys aren't even seeing the full-on layout or everything else that's going on. There's a lot more shit if you go on Twitch or anything like that, or on the re-uploads. There are a lot of different things. I boiled the show down as a whole on this, just that way it's easier for you guys to transfer and move over like you guys should.
Also, that isn't even critique, just being like, yo, it used to be legendary, what happened? Yo, that's on decline. Examples, man. What is the problem?
Exactly.
That's also like another weird thing, is it depends on what audience you're talking to on the podcast or something, because like, let's say I go on some generic large podcast, which I really want to for like just to get my story out there so people can understand how fucked Pokemon is. But it's like, how much of them are interested? How much of them would already know me or something? And then how interested would the guest be, despite it being the largest franchise in the world? Like, I can string together the entire history and make something interesting, but is there enough totality in all of those things coming together to keep it interesting? Well, like kind of my weird like mental thinking about how this goes.
I think the hard part for you going on podcasts, other than this one, because I understand you as a person and you and your content, is as a whole, it is very, very complicated and complex for what your problem is.
Yeah.
But to other people, it is very, very straightforward. I understand the nuance of it, where most people would boil it down to, you were dickhead, therefore dickhead blows you up.
You also, like, have to be involved with it already, to where you can just be like, oh, I know why I hate Verlisify, or oh, I know why the Pokemon community sucks, and then you can get like a cool explanation out of that. So I feel like I'd love to be on a podcast where I'm interacting with chat, where I address the haters directly. That's all I want to do. And that's the thing I talked about earlier on, where I'm like, I'm making great content. We're in the middle of the Verlisify always right arc, but I like that interaction where it's like, if you have something against me, speak up. I want to actually discuss. I want to debate this. If I'm wrong, I really want to know what I've gotten wrong so I can change. And if you're wrong, then like, please just accept you're wrong, because I have a decade of YouTubing YouTubing.
It's a lot of things too, because a lot of people will make up their mind if you say one incorrect thing, or they'll make up their mind based off of your opinion on said thing, therefore you're a bad person. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm surprised that I didn't fucking get canceled for my take like 3 weeks ago. I'm just gonna say it like that. But I called an entire group of people.
Yeah. But then, like, so that kind of derailed me a little bit on that. So yeah, like and then I'm like debunking these haters nonstop.
Yep.
But they still hate me, and then no one else cares, because like, yeah, that's just petty, shitty drama that just wastes 10 minutes on a podcast episode, and everyone zones out. Now we're losing quality, and then people get mad at us. But if there was actually like more engagement there, it'd be interesting. That's why I do it for. I want to have the engagement with not just my fans, but also the entirety of the Pokemon community, because that's just my passion. And but then nothing comes out of it, because the Pokemon community is so shitty. And that's why no one cares about Pokemon, because their interaction is, it just sucks.
Everything becomes cyclical. Everything does.
Yeah.
Whether that's your specific problem with being dislike botted and hated on by some of the largest creators in your space, or me with my crazy ass fucking stories that are semi believable, so everybody kind of is like, oh fuck, did that really happen? The fuck, man. Like as a
And then,
whole,
like, yeah.
who the fuck
And then
knows?
NPC hive mind stuff where just like everyone that not everyone, like 95% of people that hate me don't know why they hate me. I would like to have them as fans, or I'd like to know why, but they can't put it across because they have no valid reasoning. And even when I prove them wrong, it just
Well,
falls flat.
when you don't have the level of intelligence or the level of being able to explain yourself, whether you have a legitimate concern or not, which both are possible. Yes, Verlisify is a furry.
Yeah.
Those things automatically put you into a list where you are unable to explain or articulate yourself in any form or fashion.
That's like the biggest thing that I think social media has revealed. Idiocracy has always been real, but you couldn't see the sheer volume of how many stupid people that can't articulate themselves are actually out there until now. And that's like Subroom Temp, dude. It explains everything. There's that Jordan Peterson talk where he's like, if you have an IQ under 86, that's 10% of the population, you can't do shit because you're too stupid.
Yeah, no, exactly. There's no fucking reason for 85% of people to have a voice box. I promise you, the world would be better.
Yeah.
But
And then,
as a whole,
and then also, as IQ rates plummet, now it's like 1 in 4 people. Just think about it like that. It feels like 1 in 4 people are too stupid because their IQ is so low. They cannot articulate, they don't know why they think what they do, and they have no comprehension skills through it. And most of them are online, which is our space. So we're going to get overexposed to that. It's fucked.
And the hardest part is when you have a mind rant where you're like, I said all of these things. Why don't you understand? We're in a world of ADHD. We are. We just genuinely are. And it's getting worse as time goes on because people are getting misdiagnosed and then on medication that they don't need, and then it becomes worse.
Yeah.
They go on mind rants and mind fucking altering bullshit where they go through and they have this entire paragraph laid out in their mind and they say one sentence. I do this all of the fucking time because I'm a retard. Absolutely.
And if you're also stupid to begin with, then that makes like that whole breaking down even worse. So it's like that meme where it's just like thought goes in, bullshit comes out.
Yep.
It's like, now imagine if it's that, and like your point was flawed to begin with, gets more flawed as it cooks, and then gets condensed because you're shortening it, and it's just all garbage. And that's so many people online.
That garbage that person is spewing, or that garbage that ideology is spewing, creates it into something that is broadly accepted by everybody. So if you're not in the hive mind, all of a sudden you are completely chewed up and spit out, because not only can you not change the way people see things, but you're not changing the way people understand it either.
Yeah, like people not touching grass is just destroying them. We're not seeing any, like, everyone's developmentally stunted now because of social media, and then they're just getting exposed to dumb ideas, and then it's just like a hive mind of gaslighting NPCs, and it's just broken. So if you're actually intelligent and you're smart and you can either break down someone's point, or you were just right to begin with, but then they're too ignorant to want to change or become wrong, because then that goes against the crowd and all of their acceptance, like there's just no place. It's ridiculous. It's weird. And that's why I'm like, come on, haters, please, like, live or with some kind of formal constructive thing. I want to figure out where I've been wrong, if you can have a point of me being wrong.
That's the hard part, is not only are they not able to understand or articulate their point, but they are not able to fully have the conversation, have their mind changed, or come to an understanding that they might be wrong. This world is like so narcissistic that they feel like they are always in the correct. Now, I've had
big narcissism, yeah.
I've had conversations with you where you're like, man, this shit's absolutely fucked. This, and this. And then I'm like, bud, breathe for 2 seconds. Have that thought again. And you're like, yeah, there might be some things that are wrong, but overall, I'm right. You admitted you were wrong. You're not narcissistic. You know how many times I've seen that shit? Oh, Verlis is a narcissist. Okay, prove it. Where's your point? What are you trying to say?
And then I usually find that because, like, I get added in, or they're trying to, like, do something inflammatory, so I find out about it. I'm like, yeah, I'm here now. What? And that's just like the same stupidity. I'm like, but here's the proof that you're wrong. And then, all right, whatever.
But that's the thing is nobody changes their mind based off being proven they're wrong. They don't want to be wrong, which is why they're bitching and complaining at the same level that they expect you to accept.
Yeah. And also, there's like an immediate idiot check. Like I can find a lot of. And another weird thing is like how it's always the same arguments and it's always the same fallacies and stuff, or like the same kind of idiocy. Where if someone like, say I make a video about A Drive because Elastrals is horrible or something, and like one of the fan comes at me and says, "Mind your own business." And I'm like, but if you were minding your own business and you weren't a hypocrite, then you wouldn't be here coming at me. You're mad at me for going after someone, but it's okay when you come after me.
That's the thing is like there are so many people that make money or have the arguments on YouTube, on Twitch, every single fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
That is their content. You just have people sounding off and throwing hissy fits all of the time. Why can you not call something out as disrespectful, disgusting, or gross? And why is that a negative thing? This sounds absolutely fucking retarded to me.
The
being
hive
able to
mind is
critique
scared.
something, being able to critique something is the most important fucking thing we do as people.
Narcissists can't be challenged. That's like when a threat, like they feel threatened by that, and that needs to be destroyed. And unfortunately, social media just allows numbers. You know, we're in the emotions. We're in the post-fact society where emotions rule. And if you get enough people to change society into that, there's nothing you can do to fight it.
No, and as a whole, you fall into a fucking pit, sitting there having the same fucking argument over and over and over and over again, that there's no movement. They're gonna fall farther and farther and farther away from coming to a agreement and an understanding instead of coming closer to one. Most people will see the hive mind as a way to just push their ideology or their thought that they have interpersonally even farther and farther. It's not a way to make yourself more intellectual or more in-depth. What you should be doing as a person, whether that's Pokemon, politics, or whatever the fuck it is, you should be looking at both extremes and pulling yourself to the center and figuring out where your thoughts are, not going on one side. If you follow only one side, you are a fucking buffoon and a retard.
That's why, like, yeah, with these idiot depths, that's why I call it gaslighting, because you start to think like, am I wrong? Because everyone else is saying I'm wrong.
Nah, man,
but...
you gaslight, you gatekeep, and you girl boss. That is what you do on everything. You fucking shove your nuts in their eyes, tickle your fucking tongue with your dick. You fucking fuck them over every single chance. Tickle their tongue with your dick. I know I fucking worded it incorrectly. You tell them to go fuck themselves. Over and over again. That's the only fucking way to go about it. Like, there's zero reason to sit there and just accept everything that everybody throws at things. Because they're fucking retards. So many of them.
See, my brokenness is I tried to, like, think that, like, okay, I can convince one person, right? If I can prove without a shadow of a doubt, because this person is objectively wrong, that there will be progress in the Pokemon community and everything gets a little better because of this discussion. And that is my day-to-day life where I'm, like, seeking that. I'm trying to fight for it. And no, it just gets dumber. And that's like the crazy part, and I still, like, that's my insanity. You know, doing the same thing over and over, expect a different result. I expect to find intelligence somewhere, and it never happens.
Oh, there's intelligence nowhere. That's the problem. Is so many fucking retards. Motherfucker, I figured you woke up from a nap. I see you in chat, you motherfucker. That's why I actually messaged you. I knew you woke up for a nap. I called it. I said he went to go walk his dog, and then he fell asleep. Motherfucker, I woke up from a nap. Ugh. Fucking hell. See, I told you. I told you.
Mm-hmm.
But, whatchamacallit? That hive mind bullshit is so fucking obnoxious. It just is. I can't fucking stand it.
It just keeps getting worse, and there's no shift. And now they're like the NPC TikTok trend. That's why I'm like, we're fucked. It's over. Simulation's broken. Society's chalked. Not enough people touch grass soon enough. It's done.
I don't know if it's just me looking back at the 90s and early 2000s because I was a kid, so I didn't understand how segmented everything was. But it's almost like nobody talking about politics, nobody talking about their interpersonal thoughts actually made things better.
because it was a homogenization of real people. Like, if you're hardworking, you're too busy for all this Twitter bullshit, even though that is where the entirety of culture is being decided and changed. So it's only the idiots, it's the people that are worthless, that have nothing else to do but oversaturate the time spent online with their stupidity. We're getting people that are successful, that are doing something with their lives, generally like older conservatives or something. They're just not existing on the platforms, either for getting kicked off or because it's all bullshit to them. So it's all this weird stuff, and everyone's getting a trophy. No one's going outside and skinning their knee and building any life skills or any kind of real experience.
Oh, Josh is cool. Josh is one of the fucking homies. He decided to leave, and he was putting things together and changing the way things are for him. And I wish him nothing but the best, and hopefully at some point he'll come back on and come hang out. Last episode he did was like 6 months ago, around now. He was on for my birthday episode to answer the chat. But yeah, like the shit is just so fucking stupid. And it's like everybody, not just one side, everybody wants to super hive mind on their own side. So nobody is a gray area anymore.
And no one wants to lose ever, and that's why they keep banding together. Exactly.
And then you get weird ass combinations like the weird rainbow flag with different rainbows on the other sides. You know, all the weird shit that literally doesn't go together. You know, if we were Rumble only, we could go in depth on that conversation, but we can't.
That's why I'm just like, I'm staying away.
Yep, I know where I can sit on that line, but
get that evil off me.
I'm not sitting on that line any farther than that. But yeah, that shit's fucking horrible. No, but it's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid. What rainbow stuff? Yeah, you're not a retard. We all know. Man.
We get next topic.
Yeah.
NPC on TikTok. Balloon. Pop, pop, pop. Yum. Ice cream.
Dude, I got banned on TikTok. Not banned. I got fucking. What was it? They unadded our videos to feeds because I put not tranny. The fuck was it? I put lesbo in the title. Community guideline strike within fucking 5 seconds of typing that title. It's like, really? You have a character count. What do you want me to do? I have to shorthand some things that are still searchable. What the fuck? It's not a fucking bad term. That's actually a cool conversation. I think we've had it before, but we can rehash it. Is furry a sexual thing? I don't know about Verlis, but I think it only becomes a sexual thing after you add butt plugs and ears, and that is where becoming a real furry degenerate starts.
Yeah, I'm a furry, but I'm not a degenerate furry. I do it because I find a lot of appeal in the art and also just the representation and stuff. So, it's just one of those things where like you like a certain kind of art style or you like a certain kind of idea, and that's just what has a lot of appeal to me. It's who I am.
Do you see yourself as that character? Like all of these...
Well, not in, like one of those cringe, like, in every ways but physical, I am a wolf kind of idea. But it is like how people have their online personas or their own, identities.
That's why I asked, because I think there are so many people that, like, pigeonhole themselves completely into, well, I am this thing, therefore I am. Mm-hmm. And
I just like the idealized perception of it, where it kind of comes through, because like I think my persona looks badass, and I think it has a representation of me in that. And if there were like fantasy avatars or some kind of online representation like that, I think it works for me, who I am, and I do find it appealing.
Like, to me, your perspective on furries, where you're like, oh, I just like the art and I like the piece of it, it represents me in a different way. That seems more like Native American culture, where they used to sit there and plaster fucking deer or wolves on everything. Yeah.
But then that's also where it gets weird, because like then there's therianthropy, where you do have those like the people that overgo into that with furries. And,
no,
like,
exactly.
I think there's just the kind of thing where like there's the historical idea of that, which I guess since it has existed in culture for so long, where you have Vikings tripping on mushrooms and trying to channel animal spirits and stuff, like you have that side of it. But then the furries get in, and then like they just make it seem like a total meme, and like too cringe or something.
No,
So
and it's really hard to fully understand exactly why somebody would label themselves, and not you specifically, because I've actually had intellectual conversations with you, but there are some people that it is very hard to understand or see why somebody would label themselves a furry. Like at
well,
what
I feel
point?
like
At what point
it,
do you label yourself a furry? If you're like, yes, that butt plug with the fucking cat tail that sticks out.
it is some people they just like they are
Like,
sexually attracted to, and they're like, I guess I have to be this now.
and it's like everybody says, oh well, nobody's a shade of what black or white. Okay, then why are you looking at everything as a shade of black and white? Where does it
Yeah.
start? Where does that gray start where there's a problem?
That's kind of like the weird
Unacceptable
thing
in
because
any
like
way.
that is like the weird thing where we do have the spectrum of sexuality where like not everyone is perfectly straight and not everyone is
Yeah.
like 100% gay, and like there's that spectrum, and like furry has that same thing, but it's always like the negative stigmatism. And there's also like a weird thing as
And there's
toxicity online and culture and everything gets more and more screwed up to where early internet everyone hated furries because their only exposure was the sexualization of it. And then I feel like at some point it actually started turning favorable for furries because there were so many of them. Like everyone's like, oh, I know a furry and he's actually a cool person and he isn't sticking his butt plug in my ass, so I guess if he keeps it to himself he's all right. And then like I was seeing some more favorable, and then all of a sudden like everything about internet hate culture just kind of like kept going to where now it's just more and more like negative towards furries. So if we were just in a nice society where people could communicate because they're not totally fried on
well,
social media.
I think a lot of that is because so many people hyper focus on the articulation of it being a kink, of it being a fetish, of it being this big massive thing in their life. They're doing the same exact thing that so many people don't do with something like BDSM. If everybody wore BDSM like people do fucking furryism, wouldn't that be a weird ass fucking society?
Yeah, and I was trying to like get through the rest of my thought on that where if we also weren't in this like narcissism culture where
Yeah.
like everyone's just like trying to be ignorant and stupid and all of these things to where like there's no comprehension. No one can articulate that themselves. They're in the cult, furry bad, immediately that,
Yeah,
done
exactly.
fucking done kind of thing.
But I think that's why it crosses over. I didn't mean to cut you off and make you lose your train
Yeah.
of thought. But as a whole, like I think that's why so many people feel so skeeved out about it or uncomfortable with it. Is they think that the only thing that's shoved in their face is the kink of it.
Hmm.
Like BDSM life of the wife submits to the man, that's in front of a lot of people's faces too. But that's
Yo,
not a
50 Shades
negative.
did great work for the BDSM community. We need one of those for the furry community.
I don't think that would have as much mainstream appeal. I just honestly I don't think that crosses over. 50 Shades of Fur
It's
does
fun.
not hit as well.
Could. That'd be fun. Yeah, but the thing is, like, yeah, and I think it is just kind of the people that once something gets a stigma like that. Well, I wouldn't say an astigmatism. That's
Yeah.
shit. But yeah, once something gets like negatively stigmatized, the cult's already jumped in. You're not allowed to break from that. There's too much idiocy to think through it and like try to rationalize it out. And it needs like a long cultural building. Because like I said, I felt as a furry that it was shifting away from hating furries around 2012 into 2015. But then everything got overly politicized. Everything became overly
Well,
charged
then everything
on social media.
also became so exaggerated on social media.
Yeah.
It went from, okay, you're a furry, you like putting on fucking the furry shoes, but they don't look like feet. They're just furry. And you wear the butt plug with a cattail and oh, you fucking have cat ears. But that's it.
Well, I'm
Now
saying like just
everybody's
everyone got
like-
more hateful on
Yeah.
social media over the last 7 years to where like bad thing bad and there's no other way out around it.
There's too many things to think about these days. You can't look into everything so perfectly. We're all ignorant on most topics. Everybody ignorant in every topic. That's the thing. Is if you have a hyper focused conversation about everything with every single person, everybody's going to be a retard. Everybody is.
It's one of those things like where your IQ breaches a certain point, you just become non-functioning.
Either you become so hyper focused on one specific thing that you're absolutely retarded in every single form or fashion, everywhere else. Or
Yeah.
you become very, very wide and accepting of or understanding of everything, and then it's super, super hard to become focused on anything.
Yeah. And then having that much acceptance just cooks your brain, and you're done anyways.
It's super complicated. It genuinely is, and that's the hard part. Is it's
Yeah,
so
but I
hard
think it's
to.
just like the baseline level of hate in all of society because of social media and all this narcissism and stupidity has like risen, and then like furries were right here, so the tide caught it, and then that was it.
And as culture has gotten more degenerate, it's like the culture has looked at the more degenerate side of things, and the
Hmm.
calm, level-headedness bullshit kind of disappeared, which is really weird. When a couple years ago, women were fawning over 50 Shades. Now
Yeah.
every woman is putting their pussy and asshole on
There, that
Twitch.
is kind of the like, and I will say like furries, yeah, they, the degenerate furries do not do favors for the furry community because it's always like, oh, here's some pride parade where like someone had a pup hood on and is doing really weird stuff, or just any video gets out there about like furries, like yeah, and I think that is kind of like with the acceptance, furry acceptance started getting better. But then the degenerates came crawling out. We're like, ooh, now it's time. Now I can be me. And then no one wanted to see that, and that brought a lot of hate, kind of idea. So I think we do bring in ourselves mostly, but this is on top. Like
The
yeah, like furries have made themselves look worse by getting more degenerate, but also with the baseline level of hate rising, bad combo.
Yeah, it's like the degeneracy level increased across the board. And when it
Hmm.
increased across the board, then it's like, well, why aren't we more degenerate? Why aren't we
Yeah.
going farther? Why aren't we doing this? What? And then everybody looks at the more and more and more degenerate parts of the entire society, and it all
Hmm.
gets fucked up.
Where it's just like degeneracy acceptance, and then like they look at furries and go, that not that one. Hate them.
And you want to know how I deal with all of the degenerate fucking world? Do you want to know how I am as amazing of a fucking person? I do all of this fucking work. I'm fueled by fucking G Fuel, boys. Use code RMTS at checkout for 20 or 30% off, or they have a fucking BOGO right now if you want to go buy two, and I think it's buy one, get one free. Shit is fucking fantastic. Go check it out. If you want some flavor ideas, ask and I will give you some.
Exactly. You gotta be fueled by energy to just wade through all of this nonsense.
Exactly. The world is fucking weird now. You need more energy now than you ever have before in your life. Make sure to actually take in something with zero fucking sugar and know that you're not going to be a fat piece of shit the rest of your life. Do better. See, I
Yep.
love that
And
they allow me to just say whatever the fuck I want on my platform.
I was like, man, that is a transition that I would never think possible for a brand.
And oh, dude, it was a smooth one too. You can't even hate it. It was
Yeah.
fucking way
I,
through
I
the
I felt it
degeneracy.
coming. I was like, is he going there? Oh,
Yeah,
this is gonna be
yeah,
good.
yeah, man.
How
I
long
got
does it
flow.
take him to get into the furry suit? I mean, I don't have one. I've wanted one, but I've like it's one of those things where I've wanted one, but I want to like go all out and get like the most perfect suit, and then it's like, but where would I wear it to? And also, I feel like I'm too hated. Someone like throw eggs at it or paint or something. If I go to an event, people are like, that's Verlisify, get them. So I wouldn't want to get like, I couldn't do anything with it. And also, after the dislike botting, my income's been cut significantly. I'm still doing fine, but it's like, oh, I don't have $8,000 fursuit money anymore.
8,000 fucking dollars.
Like I said, I want to go all out. I'd want like the most modern, newest, insane tech, just best fursuit ever. And then because that, like I keep holding off, like the tech could get better, and then it gets more expensive. But then I don't have money.
It may be my OCD and ADD, but I completely just imagined a wolf version of fucking Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, it's too much ADD and
Yep,
ADHD and whatever.
way too much.
Uh,
It was fucking weird. Uh, fucking hell, man. Like, shit has been absolutely fucking weird.
Mhm.
So it's just in your head. Yes, exactly. That's why he's at least less degenerate furry. As he does not push it on to anybody else. How much caffeine is in it? It is 120 per serving.
Yeah,
Do you think
and that's
aliens are real? Are you talking like the grays and the greens, or are you talking like at all ever? Is there anything that's extraterrestrial that is living.
Man, that's like such a boring podcast
Yeah,
topic, TBH.
exactly. Like, the fuck? Like, if you're
And
gonna
then
go in
everyone gives the
depth,
same answer. Everyone gives the same answer. It's like, are they
is it
throwing
possible?
shit up my butt?
Yes.
Yeah.
Any.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like, do people get abducted and tinkered on? No. Does there have to be life out there? Yes. Next question. Everyone has the same thing. It's boring. And
Well, probability-wise, there has to be. Like, as a whole, the answer is yes. It has to be yes. If it is not yes, you're very, very blind and very, very heliocentric. If you're not as heliocentric and you're open-minded, then you understand that there are more things than just a human being that could be living.
Yep.
It's not just Earth.
what else we got on like topic ideas? Thinking about it, because we touched on YouTube sucking, and
All
then I
of
was
this
able
has
to get
been
my.
off the top of my head. All of it.
That's what I mean. I'm like, we went an hour 40 like that. I'm finally done. Like I don't know how to riff this.
Oh, you're
anymore.
finally done. Oh, let me get the list, bud. Oh, yeah, you wanted to talk to me about ADHD medication and ADHD as well?
Well, just kind of like, yeah, we already touched on that a bit, where there's overprescription that's creating a lot of unnecessary dependence, which is making it worse. And now there's a shortage of Adderall because the people that were like borderline, that all they needed to do was get outside.
Do you know
and,
where
like,
that
eat
started?
right. No.
So that started about a year into COVID, when everybody started pushing all of the, well, go to the
Lockdowns.
therapist. Everybody's locked down in their house. Nobody can leave. So then everybody kind of pushes the whole ideology of, well, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. Therefore, I have to be.
I think that was already a problem since like 2016.
Absolutely. But I think the increase of prescribed medication was like 450, 550%.
Yeah. Turns out, like,
during
if you're
lockdown.
just sheltered for a month, you get screwed up as a human. Wow. Who could have seen that coming?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I
Who
mean.
the
Like,
fuck?
that's what I mean. Like, the people that were on the fringe, I was like, you know what? If you just went outside more, talk to people in person, healthier diet, maybe working out, go for a jog, like, you don't need the ADHD medication. But then, like, they start filling you up because that's the whole culture. The culture is, look at me, I belong, I'm accepted with my meds now. That's
Well,
not to
and then-
dismiss that there's people that legitimately need it, but I feel like it's 90% overprescribed, and that's screwing everyone up.
And then you also have, I sent you the link. There is also the absolute thing where everybody struggled with seeing that ADHD medication for people that do not have ADHD is a fucking superpower. And so many people abuse it, and you've seen it even in the highest levels of fucking YouTube with
Yeah.
people like FaZe Rain. FaZe Rain took so much Adderall that he ended up in a fucking wheelchair and unable to do things. And that's not a negative; it's just abuse of a medication.
It's just competition as well, where it's like, yeah, all the pro esports players are on Adderall because it just heightens it that much.
And everybody's asking, "Oh, do drug testing, do this, do that." There's a lot of fucking people that can't even get their fucking medication. Like, I think it was January, it might have been February. I called in my medication, and they're like, yeah, we don't have that. Okay, so how long until you do have it? It's okay, I take my medication appropriately, I give myself breaks, even to the point where I have an extra week. Like, I'm on top of my shit. I know exactly how to handle it, I know what I have to do. They're like,
you need it and you use it responsibly. No one does that.
They're like, we can't tell you how long it's going to be. You need to call around to other pharmacies and see if they have it, so that way you can get it from there. I call fucking CVS and they're like, we cannot tell you what narcotics we have in store at all ever. I was like, I just want to know if the script could be filled, because if I flip it to you and then try and flip it somewhere else, it flags. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You can't tell me. It's just fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid. I hate fucking people. People are retarded.
Yeah. The abuse of all these idiots we've been rambling about for the last hour, they're making it harder for like the legitimate needs, and then everyone's just kind of screwed off of it.
Well, the crazy thing is I was undiagnosed until COVID. But you want to know the crazy thing? My suicidal ideation is gone. I have not had suicidal ideation in almost 2 years now.
Is that because of the medication,
Yes.
you think, or just...
Well, when your mental state is
Yeah.
struggling and you have your mind bouncing off the fucking walls, it's very, very easy to go down the path of, well, suicidal ideation is the answer. Every answer is, oh, I'm gonna die today.
Yeah, when you're playing ADHD roulette, pick one. It's like, oh, there it is.
There's
Let's
the
do
answer,
that
right?
today. Mm-hmm.
It's just like,
Rough.
it is so weird to just feel okay. And I normally feel okay, but it's nice not to ever have that as an answer 99% of the time now, instead of it being an answer 50% of the time. I
Rocky.
sent you the list.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we kind of hit the topic on this ADHD thing. So I was talking with my friends who was on it growing up and then got off of it and is trying to get back on. And there's a shortage and he's
Yep.
struggling. And one thing he said that was interesting was he was just like, the reason why I need it is because you don't understand what it's like already being normal.
Yep.
And I'm like, explain. He's like, so I don't want to do anything, but when I was taking this, I was really enjoying being able to do things. I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
is it just motivation? Like,
Nope.
you just don't have motivation if you have ADHD, and that's kind of like the
So-
big realization.
So there's this thing called ADHD paralysis, which is like
I'm
what
aware of that. Yeah, I've heard of it.
what a lot of people. I'm gonna explain it for the chat. If it explains
yeah,
it a
yeah.
little bit more, maybe it'll help other people understand. So ADHD paralysis is like you scrolling through TikTok for 20 minutes, but it gives a person with ADHD enough dopamine to do that for 6 hours. And it'll give you time blindness to the point where you just don't realize anything happens.
Hmm.
It just, all of the symptoms line up to the point where you're just gone. And you don't realize you don't start the thing you need to do. There's nothing that can push you out of that other than having enough stress and availability for that thing to kick you into gear to start the thing. And I've had numerous talks with my therapist and psychologist about this stuff. I was like, how the fuck do I fix this? Because this is the only problem I have. If I can turn the light on and turn the light off when I need to, do you know how much more I would accomplish? That's all I need. Just the availability of the light switch being on the wall. They're like, no, there is nothing that will ever give you that.
Yeah. And before it was explained to me that, well, I'm not saying like that way, but before my friend like put it into that extra perspective for me, I'm like, but that's normal. Because for me, it's like, yes, I understand I can just zone out, get lost, and then doom scroll or just get lost scrolling and stuff. It's like, that just seems like a normal thing. But it's like, an inability to understand, it's like, no, you don't understand the extreme part where it's like you can't turn that off. You eventually hit that point where your brain turns on the switch and goes, wait a second, you shouldn't be doing this. That doesn't happen for people with ADHD. And then that's why I was also like, wait, you just don't understand like what motivation is. Like you don't have the proper dopamine response to doing what you need to get done.
There's zero dopamine in anything that you have to do.
And see, that's the thing. I was just like, oh, you've never experienced motivation, or like you have a hard time doing that. I'm like, yeah,
First conversation I had with you. Look at what I said. Oh, I moved around my office. I started doing different things in PK, and all of a sudden, guess what? My motivation's back. Look, Zach's back achieving on crazy fucking.
And then that
levels.
goes back to but as a normal person, I'm demotivated sometimes too, and I procrastinate, and it just takes me a while to get up and get going. But it's like no, it's like it's not a while. It's I never.
Yeah,
so like again, like so eventually the normal person like they have these bad traits. They have these ADHD things. That's just the human condition.
So
but
Adderall, Vyvanse, and those things give you dopamine, which is what it does. It makes those receptors more receptive to the not only the medication but whatever you're doing. So even when you have ADHD and you take ADHD medication for it, you still can couch lock yourself. You can fuck your entire day up. Because you will become so hyper-focused and hyper-vigilant on that one specific thing that you started.
The wrong thing.
You're gone. It's fucking gone. Mm-hmm. Or you can do it appropriately and take the step, and it's very hard to find that motivation, though, and it freezes you completely.
Mm-hmm. And now where I'm going with this is that it goes both ways, because then there's the people that are normal, they're just lazy. And they want that out, where it's just like, oh, it's ADHD, sorry, nothing I can do about it. It's like, no, you're fully capable, you don't need the medication, and going on social media to getting like other people giving you that confirmation bias is not helping anyone. And now there's a shortage.
The people I love having those conversations with are the people that want to claim ADHD all the time, but they are not intelligent enough to actually have the conversation, not only around it, but around anything. Because even unmedicated, I'm more intelligent than most people. I might be able to not, I
That's
might
sad.
not be able to articulate myself to a level that is, to a level that I wish that I could attain always, but I am more intelligent than most people.
Sad.
I know I'm a fucking retard online, like,
Yeah, that's why I'm just like, wow, that's rough, buddy.
but like there are so many people that they want to hold themselves to that level of, oh well, I'm ADHD, that's why I failed this, or that's why I couldn't do that. No, man, I did that in my sleep.
And you've got bad ADHD, and
I
you're still able to find a way through it.
Chiz, I had a personal conversation with Chiz, and normally I don't bring him up, but we were talking personal shit about me, and that's why I feel comfortable bringing it up. He's like, when did you have your kids? Because I told him, oh, I have 3, blah blah blah. These are their ages. He's like, yeah. So you had 2 kids, one in high school and one as you graduated. I said, yep. And I graduated with high honor roll. I graduated high school with a 95 overall while having a kid. That's not just intelligence based. That is having enough stress and understanding how to handle myself and overachieving when I am highly stressed, which is a sign of ADHD. There is more that makes my mind work, and if I can hold myself always to that level, then I overachieve. If I don't, then I fail. And then I squander because there's not enough enjoyment in the situation for me to actually have fun.
That's also just like going back to spectrum talks where everyone is so different. Even like the way that they get an issue with themselves can also have like different like impacts and how they function and stuff, even though it's called the same thing.
No, and it's really fucking weird. It's weird to see the way other people see things or have those conversations where people understand it and how people actually perceive what the fuck is going on or why they did something or why somebody else did something. Because I am very, very introspective in those things. Very fucking introspective in those things. But when I have that 20 or 30% extra level of stress that you struggle handling, I over succeed in it. I overachieve in it. And most people are like, how the fuck do you do that? Well, I'll fuck it. Nope, no idea. They're like, oh, well, I would have killed myself if I fucking had 2 kids before I graduated high school. And I'm like, yeah. Nope. That's where I strived. I don't understand. I just don't.
Yeah. Sometimes people get that superpower moment with ADHD. Seems like.
Well, as a whole, it's such a different fucking thing. So many people don't genuinely perceive it as what it genuinely is. They want to just super hyper focus into, oh, well, it's you are different, your mind's wired different. You need to just stop being lazy and accept it.
Yeah.
It's not being lazy. If I can do all of that when I'm giving you 45%, imagine what 100% is. Guess what? My 100% is never going to be seen by anybody. Not because I don't want it to be, because nothing takes it.
No, yeah, nothing's worth that.
It's like I'm level capping myself psychologically without being able to ever be able to reach that potential because of how my mind and trauma responses.
Okay. Then like, what are your thoughts on like the over prescription diagnosis? Like, how many people do you think don't actually have it? Like, is ADHD a larger problem than people would think, or is it actually a very small amount of people that have it like you?
So it's both. It's overprescribed and underprescribed. A lot of people.
Okay. Also, really quick, just to kind of add on to this before you get into that. How much like? What about like the social media ADHD? Where like I think there's also like if you're just underdeveloped, over narcissistic, wasting too much time on social media, like it develops a kind of ADHD, right?
Yes, it does. So a lot of the ADHD that we're seeing now, and this is me hearing studies and me being able to spit them back out. So not only is it not only my opinion, but it's factually based. You could go Google it and find it. A lot of the short form content is fucking with people's attention spans. Those attention spans being fucked with obviously does have impact on how those things are perceived, not only by you, but how the world interacts with you and how you perceive the things that are happening within the world. If it's not as action based or intellectual or challenging, those things are very, very hard for you to perceive and very, very hard for you to understand. That's just the basis of how social media has affected people that are in that gray area of autism, ADHD, and that kind of spectrum. It is very, very overdiagnosed in the people that are dealing with just that. You want to know how you fix that? Stop watching fucking shorts, you fucking retards. Stop clicking on these videos.
Don't go to TikTok. Don't get in Twitter arguments.
Well, Twitter arguments, if you can articulate yourself, if you can expand on your thought and have more than 156 characters, you're able to have an intellectual conversation. You want to know why you're so fucking retarded? Because you only allow yourself to not understand the other person's point of view, which is part of ADHD, part of struggling, and part of a lot of mental illness. A lot of that mental illness was triggered by a lot of single-parent households that happened in the 80s and 90s. So as a whole, it is under-prescribed in those situations because if you look at it this way, ADHD is a trauma response. And a lot of people don't understand that part as a whole.
I do, and that's why I wanted to ask on your take of that, because there is a lot of it like that needs to be like where you need medication or you need proper diagnosis and treatment of it. But I'm trying to like figure out because it's a spectrum, because like a lot of people are self-inflicting it and stuff like that. The interesting thing to me is like how much is curable by the individual and how like where does that line happen? And I don't think that you can actually give an answer for that.
No.
But my take,
I think it's about like 30. So I was able to achieve. So if right now peak Zach is obtainable 55-60% of the time, I'm able to do all of these things. I'm able to keep myself in it and in depth. Everything else, I'm able to do that 65% of the time. With just consuming 500 milligrams of caffeine, which is above the recommended dosage. Do not take that much. You're a bunch of fucking retards. Do not self-prescribe yourself caffeine like I did.
4 scoops of G Fuel.
Don't do that. G Fuel does not condone that. They have no idea how much I consume. That level, I'm able to achieve that 33% of the time. So I'm able to hold myself to that level half of how much I should. Half of how much, like without no stress, without anything like that. That's how much I'm able to do things about like half of the time. But as a whole, yes, there is a difference. If it is just the low attention span, struggling, dealing with all of the bullshit. See you later, takers. Love you, brother. Have a good one. All of that shit, it is 100% curable. If it is a trauma response, you have to go through a lot of shit to fix it because there's more than just one thing. And that trauma could be triggered by numerous fucking situations as a whole. It's just what triggered the situation, what caused it, where did it start.
Yeah, I think instead of it being like a mental illness epidemic or an ADHD epidemic, it's a developmental epidemic.
Absolutely.
And that's, yeah. But then I think the people that were like on that borderline edge of trauma, you know, they look back and they worsen it to get that acceptance or to trigger it for themselves.
I think a lot of people say things are worse than what they were. And I look back at how I say things or how I look at things in this light, so that way I normally dumb down my stories. As stupid as that sounds with the stories I've told on here, or even the topic titles, I pull them back. I will say things exaggerated, like numbers or stuff like that, but the facts are all true.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm saying it's like by making it worse,
but
and look back, you're triggering it again, or you're making it worse for yourself, and it's harder to get out of. But then I consider a lot of that like a self-infliction kind of thing.
I think a lot of people will cycle back to those topics and those times to feel negative in those lights and in those aspects, to feel like they will be accepted by a group, a class, or a person. Mm-hmm. And having said mental illness or this situation or that situation is the reason why they are accepted.
Yeah, or they use that as like the excuse for all their problems, where it's like, I don't have motivation, my job sucks, and everything's bad in my
Like
life because of this. It's like, or you could have just changed
the
your
hate
entire outlook.
the hate Tate got for saying that he would never get depressed because depression does not exist in his mind is a hell of a lot more intellectually sound than most people fully understand.
Well, that's a big take I've had, which is why I want to see your take on some of these things and like, round it out, see like where I'm wrong, where I
So
might be getting too deep into my own head on my own thoughts about
no,
something to understand it fully.
like ADHD wise is a trauma response. It is you feeling like you are not adequate enough to live in this world. So
Yeah.
therefore you have to overachieve. Or it
Okay,
does.
how about quick again,
Yep.
not cutting you off, but like because this is an interesting part for me.
Yep.
How much do you think of that is permanently curable? Like, is there like a level to
Zero.
where? So I mean, like,
For
so
me,
is there a way like?
and I can't
Yeah.
perceive other people.
Okay, that's why I want to know. Cause like, okay, so it's a trauma response. Is
Yes.
there a way to eventually overcome that trauma into being
No,
fine?
because I have OCD as well.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. That's like an interesting angle to it because.
So, like I'll put this into more perspective here, and it might help the situation and other people understand it a little bit more. I always feel like I am inadequate of handling my job, doing the things that I need to do. I always feel like I am. Imagine a 5-year-old in a 25-year-old suit. I always feel like I am out of my skin. I am out of my mind. I'm not able to do what I'm doing. I am doing too much. I'm overachieving. I don't know how I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm just kind of riding by the coattails and hoping that things work. Now, I know I am more intelligent than that. My intelligence has gotten me to this point. But it is very, very easy to fall in that trauma response of I'm never good enough. I'm never able to accept myself. And then OCD pulls me right back into the suicidal ideation of that, with that always being an answer.
Yeah, because that's when they like if there was a like, but again, if there was a way to fix that, we probably would have been closer to finding. Because it's not like, oh yeah, just
You
do
can
X
fix
amount of
it
therapy.
short term. You
Yeah.
cannot fix it always.
Because I mean, like people have been on medication forever and
Yep.
going to therapy forever, and that's like they can't shake it. So I think that's where like that's why I mean about trying to understand on okay, it's like you can't get over the trauma. There at some point there is a threshold to where the trauma makes it permanent.
Yep.
But then above that, like you just don't inflict it on yourself, and
The
that's where
hard
I've
part,
been.
the hard part for everybody to fully understand or see is that trauma level of acceptance or being able to get past it is different, and it depends on the person.
Yep. And that's also where I've been like why I ask these questions and why I'm interested in finding out about these things so I can narrow that band and how I feel about it because I do have that Andrew Tate idea to where it's just like just don't be depressed. And that's how I've pulled myself out of depression because I don't have this trauma. I don't have some ADHD development. Like when I had the big breakup in my life years ago and that was like a draw in my life. So it was also because I was a popular figure back then. Like I cried myself to sleep every day. I'd record my video, have some comments cheer me up, go to bed crying, wake up, and that was it. I was, sleeping 14 hours a day back at my parents' house. I felt
Yep.
like I lost everything and I was bummed out. And I was like, okay, this is depression.
Yep.
But because I didn't have anything, like I didn't have any innate mental illness
When
holding me
you
down, I just went,
when you give everything up in the bout of depression to fix said depression is when you finally realize what caused it and how you can fix it.
yeah, like, and that's it. Like I had the motivation going, like, well, I could either do this forever, or I could just not. And that's what I did. I was just like, I just went, wait, I don't have to be depressed. And then I got my motivation back and I just worked to grind it back to where I was. And that's kind of like the difference where it's like you either let it consume you and then you just keep throwing out the excuses and you just like stay depressed when you are fully capable of changing that. And I think that is where I just randomly say like
Yep.
90%.
Exactly.
I think 90%
Re-listen
is
to
just
it
like,
again. Depression, if you get up and you stay the same, it will stay. Which is why it is more self-inflicted than medically inflicted. If you get
Yeah.
up, you change things, and you realize what is causing the depression, what is causing the illness, what is causing the problem, you're able to get past it. It is more self-inflicted and more struggle and more trauma-based than what most people want to give it. That's why I say that Tate fucking quote is not as detrimental as most people perceive it as. It is not some big fucking blanket that falls on you from the sky. Is it sometimes you wake up and you feel like absolute garbage? There are some people that can't get up and get out of bed. There absolutely fucking is. I don't disagree. But you being able to push yourself and change that, which I struggled doing, I'm even saying that I fail at it. You have to be able to push yourself. You have to be able to get yourself past that, and you have to be able to fix the situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I just arbitrarily also want to find a way of closing down that band through finding out like how other people deal with it or what like trauma clinically prescribed.
It is giving that thing a less value in your mind.
Yes. Actual boogeyman. Don't speak the name, and it doesn't have as much power. And that's just again, that's why I try to figure these things out. And going back to like the whole it all comes together. Where it's just like NPCs, hive mind, idiots.
No,
the reality threatens them, so they do not want to confront their depression. They don't want to have the option of like, wait, I can save this. They want it to be like, no, there's nothing I can do, therefore I don't have to work for it.
This is why the mentality back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s was also flawed. And you might completely agree with me. You might think that I'm fucking crazy. The whole happy wife, happy life shit is also 100% flawed, 100% narcissistic, and 100% fucking retarded. You will feel more depressed if only your wife is happy. If you only find happiness in when they are happy, because then when they are sad, when they are hurt, when they are unable to provide for you, whether that's happiness, sexually, whatever, then all of a sudden you are depressed because you only find validation and approval and acceptance from that other person in your life.
Yeah, it's not healthy. That's like,
Isn't
that's
it weird?
obvious now. It's weird how obvious that is now.
No,
where it's just like,
because that is still perpetrated and shown, because the only people that are shown that they should be happy in a relationship is the woman. And as stupid and as red-pilled as that fucking sounds, it is the fucking truth. How many people are like happy wife, happy life? You could ask a Republican, you could ask a conservative, you could ask a very, very far righty, you could ask a very fucking far lefty. All of them will say happy wife, happy life. All of them. You want to know where you should get that happiness from? Yourself. You should be the floor. And I had this conversation with my wife the other day. She's like, I cannot be your happiness. I said, no, understand this. I am my floor. Allow me to be the floor of the relationship. You should be the thing that multiplies that floor and makes it better. You should not be the thing that brings it past the floor. You should always be the increase. Allow me to be the thing that keeps us steady, keeps us calm, keeps us level. Allow my excitable mood to be the thing that kind of adds excitement and adds flow and adds the things that change things up and brings things back to the availability of those things. But also know that that is the floor. It is not happy wife, happy life. It is, if both people are happy in this thing, things are going to be good. If one person falls, you're there to fucking pick them up. And guess what? If you fall and they don't pick you up, fucking leave their asses. They are narcissistic scumbags, regardless of if that is a man, a woman, whatever. They are a piece of shit. It does not fucking matter. It does not, regardless of what the situation is. If you cannot find happiness within that situation, in that relationship, it is wrong. It is not okay. It is not acceptable.
That's my take on relationships. That it's like, I look for it as force multiplication.
Yep.
That you get that extra power, kind of like a support in a video game, where it's just like, yeah, you're there for the amplification, but you also have to rely on yourself so you don't get like screwed up. And then it is good to be the floor that they can't fall through as well.
A relationship I see more of like a Scar and Bliss core in Pokemon than most people fully genuinely understand what that means.
Yeah.
You want one to be able to be defense on absolutely everything, and the one to be the fucking obnoxious, I'm going to poke you and be obnoxious as much as I possibly can thing. And defend in this way. And if you hyper focus your entire relationship or your entire thought process or whatever around everything, then you're just going to hyper focus on the one thing that is going to hurt you the most. Because then something's going to poke you from the side you're not paying attention to.
Yeah.
It's stupid. But yeah, trauma is more ADHD based than most people understand. I mean, ADHD is more trauma based. So you fucking
trauma.
retarded. Yeah.
Yep.
Did you have any more questions about that?
No, I know that you like just trying to wrap this up around 2 hours or something.
Oh no, you were fine. I was
Okay.
leading into what you were talking about with just
Yeah, exactly.
letting it
That's what
flow.
I'm like. Well, normally like every time I've been on, you have like some kind of like weird point and then a hard cut. So I thought you were going to be like
No.
relationships are scarmless. Good night, everybody.
No, I was going off of your fucking aspect where you're just
So
like
then
let things
I
flow.
got what I wanted. And then like I said, I kind of branched out on that. So it's like, despite what I've heard, it's like
Yeah.
it doesn't change that. Like, yeah, it's still mostly inflicted, and this is coming from someone with it.
Yes.
And then like, okay, good. Now we're refining the band.
Depression
I'm-
is more self-inflicted. ADHD is less than what most people.
Yeah. But we'll also be like just both ideas to where it's just like I don't just sound like completely ignorant if I'm doing something parallel or adjacent to Andrew Tate, when that does seem to be accurate.
It's more accurate than most people want to give it an answer and validity to. Which is like I sent my mom a clip of him. I was like, hey, this is why that I've changed and I've fixed myself to the way I have. It's like, dude, I am in the best physical shape after a fucking neck surgery. Like, can I lift things appropriately? Abso-fucking-lutely not. But do I feel and look better than I absolutely ever have? Abso-fucking-lutely. I'm not fucking depressed. Do you know how big of a fucking thing that is with having PTSD? With having suicidal ideation? I don't want to fucking die.
Yeah, the thing with Andrew Tate is like it's a more extreme
how you
kind of
use it.
Jordan Peterson kind
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
Where it's
how
like,
you
okay,
use it.
Jordan Peterson was harder to disagree with, and then Andrew Tate has like some wildness and like all this extra cancellation behind him,
Well,
but it still is doing good for people.
If you don't have the humor and understanding of what he is saying, if what he
Yeah.
is saying is not genuine, then you will never fully get the joke. Because you haven't lived it. That's why, I don't know if you saw this. There was a female who decided to live their life. I think they lived 1.5 years as a dude. They're like, dudes have it so easy, I'm going to go live my life as a dude. Didn't have a sex change, didn't go through bottom surgery, just showcased themselves opposite. In their job, in everything, they got a new job, changed their entire life. They attempted and passed away shortly after that year concluded. They said men have it harder than you will ever perceive. Most of their feelings are not validated. Most of the things that they deal with are not validated. And
The expectation is higher.
Yep. You have to succeed at a level that most people do not perceive as a man compared to a female. It just is.
Everyone's got problems they gotta deal with in their own way, and I think again it's just this deflection where it's just like, oh, I can't be challenged, so other thing problem.
Yep.
It's like, if you didn't do that, society would be so much better.
Well, everybody wants to look at it from only their perspective, and that's what I think I personally do slightly different than a lot of people. Is I'm willing to ask the question and then also take in what I'm listening to, and then repeat it back to them and ask them. So this is how you would interact in this situation. Most of the time, yeah, it's about spot on.
Oh, there goes dog.
Dog no longer sitting in front of AC. It's now past bedtime. It's time to walk around now.
Something like that.
But yeah, like it's weird. It's really thoroughly weird because they didn't see ADHD and ADD as the same thing before. That's a new thing. Like even in our childhood, a lot of people misdiagnose ADHD as ADD. The hyperactivity is not physicality in ADHD. It's not, I'm going to fiddle with my pencil or tap my foot. It is, there are 50 million different things going through your head. And that is also ADHD. There's 15 different kinds of ADHD. Because there's different symptoms that people have that some people don't.
Yep. My only other thought is like I just want because this podcast did so many different things. You know, we talked about gaming, we had like different conversations and all that. Then we went to Pokemon, and now we had like the last 40 minutes just being like mental health talk and stuff. very varied. I want to know, like, whoever's paying attention in chat, like, how this episode was. Again, because, like, when I talk about all the haters and stuff, I want to have discussion. I want to know, like, the goods and the bads and stuff. So
Well,
that's why
I
I
think
want to see how this went for the people, because it's about bringing a good viewership experience. Like,
pulling
how
you
was this
away
top
from
percent?
this hater, this problem and everything else is the most beneficial thing you can do, which I've said this to you privately. That's why I haven't put you up for a different position. And we've had that conversation because it's like, I think it would be pigeonholed on, you would struggle, they would struggle, there would be a big problem because it would either be that or falling through the cracks. There's a lot of fucking availability there where it's like, a lot of negativity here. Problem. So to me, it's like, you got to be able to flow with it and understand where the person goes. And I think I do that. And both me and Hippo do that much differently than a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people will hyper focus either on the guest completely or hyper focus away from the guest completely.
Yeah, it's hyper focusing away from guests that, like, when you catch that point in the episode, it's like, oh, interesting.
Well,
Like, even though if it's been happening, I'm not talking about your show or any other show, like, but it'll happen in, like, every show from time to time, where it's been going on for a while, and then there's a point as a viewer where you just go, that's what's up.
it is how comfortable that show is. Like, and I do it too. And I've probably done it 2 or 3 times tonight, where I will pull myself completely out of the conversation, change topic, and then go into whatever the fuck my mind wants to go on at that point. That is by far one of the hardest things to hold yourself to in that entire situation. If you go super, super in depth with a topic and you want to flow out of it and the other person isn't ready, it is very hard to have that dance and that conversation and flow well out of something, as well as I did the segue into a sponsor, as well as, those things hold each other back if the person doesn't understand what's going on. So it's very hard to have those things, and a lot of people struggle with it.
And that's why I wanted to see how the audience reacted to that.
Mental health part was definitely something I apparently needed a new perspective on. It felt really smooth and flowed really well. Mental health.
I just wanted to make sure it was, because it's for the podcast for the viewers, so they get some interesting thing to do for 2 hours and 15 minutes or whatever. And I was just thinking, like, if this isn't interesting, we just had a 40-minute talk of nonsense that people are tired of, but no, everyone's liking this, so that's good.
No, exactly.
And that's an idea where it's like, yes, everyone wants a natural flowing podcast, but if you flow into a bad state and then you're just natural for an hour and no one's vibing with it, it's bad. But no, the naturalness just worked, and that's why
we've had this conversation
on.
with things that we're working on and stuff, and you're like, dude, you ask for either everything or nothing always, and it's like, yeah, well, I'm used to getting nothing and hoping that I can get something, and just trying to leverage whatever I possibly can. And Chiz asked me, he's like, write down your goals. So I wrote down my goals. I was like, the one thing that I want to do is just have an impact. I just want to help that person. Like, I don't fucking care what I get out of it. I just want the benefit to be for the person. Which is hilarious after the things that we've been working on and stuff. It's like, I just want that benefit to help and do the right thing, and for other people to feel like I'm valuable in that situation. I think that flows into my mental health as well, because if I'm helping other people, I'm doing those things and I'm doing the things that I need to do, I'm able to actually go through and feel better, not only about myself, but about the situation as a whole.
Yeah, I just want productivity and good conversation. So that's why, like, I just aim to do that. And when you have a lot of haters just, like, trying to beat that down or being too stupid to communicate with, it's hard to make sure you're always striking that, so I try to hold on to that.
And honestly, if you motherfuckers take this shit down on YouTube, honestly, you can suck my left nut. You don't deserve the right one. That one's bigger. Thanks, boys. We'll see you fucking next time. Go check out G Fuel and their buy one, get one free. It seems like it's winding down. I might as well just end it. Unless you guys want to hear a fucking story, go check out G Fuel. They're buy one, get one free. Did you want me to tell a story, or are you good?
No, I think we're good here.